Welcome you guys back into a nice beautiful video here. So guess what? I realize that every single day you must understand to go and plan your life ahead. I promise you, when you're planning your life ahead, you're going to be doing something every single day to go and help your life, because that's the whole point of life. I promise you, the whole point of life is making sure that you're doing something for nothing. So making sure you understand that you have to go and travel sometimes, and then you have to go and do your travel photos, because when you're traveling to Spain or some new area, I mean, don't you want to go and do some photos of the area? So that is my business. I realize that's what I do in my Mega Drive. So when I visit Newcastle or any type of, let's say, nice beautiful city around Australia or around the world, I go and do all these travel photos, and then I post it online so you can see it forever. Approach, that's it. Approach, that's my business, because I want to go around seeing all this scenery. So why not do all the photos so that you can see also? Approach every single day. That's the whole point. But if I just go for me and I just go, let's say, just for my eye, and without helping you, I mean, how does that help you? Approach, I want to help you as well along the way. So find a way to help people all the time with what you're doing, and then that way you're going to be able to encourage people to lift up and also to have a much more motivational content around themselves and around life. So realize now that I have a nice beautiful microphone, which is the same microphone that I've been using for my public speaking and all of that in terms of my audio and my Mega Drive. But this time I did take away the nice beautiful hairball, which is, let's say, one of these, for example. So it's one of these. So I did stick on a sticky tape with my nice beautiful microphone, but guess what? I take it off this time, because I understand that now you have this kind of quality audio, and it's without the actual head of the microphone. But guess what? I understand that this microphone, I can throw it away, because it's never the microphone that I throw away, or else it's really the microphone piece or the extra from the microphone, which I just shown you, is something I can throw away now because I never need it anymore. I'm pretty sure, although make sure you're always understanding that when you have extra, I mean, make sure you have yourself an extra bag of something in terms of life, where you have all these extras in terms of cotton tips and cutlery, and also anything extra, for example, that you are bringing along with you, all in one bag, so that you can throw it away eventually. Brush every single day, focus upon understanding that it's more about giving people content today than ever before. So when you're really doing something every single day to strike intrigue in yourself, to, let's say, grow every single day, you're going to focus upon doing something every single day that you love to do, because that's what it's about. You have to understand that. It's about making sure that you have a nice, beautiful scenery every single day, and you're doing something that you love to do. So I'm surrounded here by water. So I understand I'm at Newcastle right now, and I have a nice, beautiful view right now in my nice, beautiful way of life. I mean, every single day, I understand that now, since I am here to perform, I understand I'm in the sun, but the sun here is, let's say, it's never that strong. So I can do this nice, beautiful video in the sun when it's never strong, but I understand I want to always be able to do it in the shade somewhere when the actual sun is very strong, so I never get skin cancer. So what I do is I place something over the back of my neck sometimes with a clothing wearer or something like that. So I bring clothes with me, and I just may put a shirt around my neck at the back, so I can block the sun from actually hitting my neck, because I understand sometimes that I may get sunburn at the back, so I make sure to prevent that as much as possible. So for example, when I go to the beach and also to the swimming pool, I want to be wearing a hat all the time. I want to be wearing a hat all the time in the sun. I want to be understanding every single day that if I ever swim in the swimming pool or beach somewhere, I go where the people are. Because why do I go where the people are? Because it's much safer than going somewhere alone. You have to understand either way that what's amazing is understand that it's much better to go alone somewhere. But let's say the beach over there is a high tide where it can actually drag you into the, it can drag you into the ocean. So if you're not comfortable, or as if you are never comfortable by swimming by yourself somewhere at a beach where there's no red flags and there's no flags there and there's no lifeguards, and you're comfortable with that and you can actually do you there, I mean, go ahead. But if you believe it's risky and that a shark may come there and attack you or something like that where there's no people, I mean, just understand every single day that you're going to focus upon what you're doing, you understand? Or else that what you must do is go and surround yourself around people and somewhere where people are, and go and swim, or else go and swim between the flags, or else go and swim in between the flags and where the lifeguards are. And that's what I'm saying. And it's never about because they're the crowd or something like that. You must understand it's because you will feel safer for yourself to go and swim behind the people, because the sharks will attack them first. I mean, you understand? I mean, be smarter. So I never go surfing or anything like that on my own. I mean, understand? I mean, get some people with you to go surfing, because that way you're going to feel much stronger as a pack than being alone surfing where a shark may attack you and then you may be alone. But what happens is, if you are with people around you, there's less likely of a chance that a shark will attack you rather than somebody else. So understand either way that what's amazing is understand the shark never attacks you in the first place, because understand to surround yourself with people, but understand that it's that way that you can say it. Or else every single day, focus upon understanding that sometimes you have to pull the audio back in terms of the microphone. You have to go and push it all the way back this way so you can get this kind of audio sound. Or else that I have about 25 centimeters from the nice, beautiful portable speaker to my actual microphone over here. But what I do is I cover my nice, beautiful phone here just on the side where I have a nice, beautiful plug-in of my microphone, and I cover that spot right there with a nice, beautiful collar shirt, so that if the wind pushes this way, that it never pushes into that piece where my nice, beautiful, let's say, cable is. Because I understand what's important every single day is focusing upon understanding that I have to lift myself, and when I lift myself, I never want, let's say, wind pushing into the audio piece over here. So I understand either way that it's a nice, beautiful day. So when it's a nice, beautiful day, I can do this video. But sometimes it may be stormy, or else it may be rainy, or else it may be so cloudy, or else it may be so hot, or else it may be so windy. I mean, you understand? So there's always different angles of life where you have to go and do life coaching videos somewhere in the park on your own. So understand that you're going to be throughout life alone, but you have to be lifting people along the process, and you have to be doing your business every single day, regardless of what you want to do. So if you're hosteling and you're going around the world through hostels, I mean, make sure you go outdoors to do your work. And go away from people. I'm away from people, even though you may be seeing people around me walking, but I'm alone. I mean, understand? I'm alone here. I'm never with the people. So I'm trying to always go somewhere where I'm alone, where there's going to be less people walking around. I mean, in a sense, every single day, focus upon understanding that you have to always have more skills, and you have to be doing much more of a better job every single day to focus upon something that you love to do, which is your business and which is your information product. Because understand now that many people, such as Jesus Christ, for example, there's only one Jesus Christ, but understand many people want to be famous and they want to be like Jesus Christ. And now I understand Jesus Christ, I want to be like Jesus Christ. But understand that what's amazing about Jesus Christ is that he goes so loud with his success. Or else now he speaks so loud and clear about his success, and he's talking it up as well. And that's why people hate him. You have to understand, people hate him so much because he speaks up the success and talks so loud as well, like this, but he's so successful. And that's why people hate him. But if you are speaking so loud like this, but you are very silent, you will never ever die. I mean, you'll never die because nobody else will ever shoot you. But if you go Jesus' way, and let's say you speak up very loud and clear, and then you're also very, let's say, successful, or else people get jealous of you, or else people get very jealous of you very quickly. So what the amazing aspect of life is understand that if you go more silent throughout life, but be as successful as Jesus Christ, I promise you, people will never kill you. I mean, they will never ever try to disrupt you. But understand that politics today are trying to disrupt you because why? Or it's because of negative. And now, if you're at the top, very negative, I mean, guess what? You have to understand that those people are less successful than the ones who are at the top and positive. I mean, understand? So the ones that are at the top and positive are the ones that get shot, because they have the loudest voice and they're very positive. And that's why Jesus Christ is the loudest but very positive. And now that's why they shoot him and they put him on the cross. So if you're the loudest in life and the positive, I mean, that's where Jesus Christ is. But understand, if you're the most silent but the most positive, or else now you can live a long life and you can outlive Jesus Christ, and also you understand that the world's safer when you're more silent while you're positive. I mean, you understand? Because that's the ultimate road. The ultimate road is help Jesus Christ get his information across, because I want you to live a longer life. Now, Jesus wants you to speak up very loud. Jesus Christ wants you to speak up very loud and also to die early, like Jesus Christ. Because that's what Jesus Christ stands for. I understand? Because understand that is. I understand? I mean, Jesus Christ wants you to die at 33 because Jesus Christ dies at 33. I understand? Now, Jesus Christ never passes away, but understand Jesus Christ's story. And now, understand that Jesus Christ is everything in life. I promise you, Jesus Christ's information is the only information of the world. I promise you, although, that if you want to live longer, you have to go more silent throughout life and be alone much more than around people, because Jesus Christ goes directly to people to be the loudest and the most positive there and the most successful. And that's why they put him on the cross. But if Jesus went to the crowd to be the most silent in the crowd, I promise you the crowd will never recognize him at all, because he's the most silent and the most successful. You understand? But if you want to speak out your story, you have to be louder. You have to understand, you have to speak louder about your story. So that's what Jesus Christ is doing back in those days. I mean, in a sense, so Jesus Christ back in those days has no internet, and he has to be loud. about everything, or else he has to be loud about his story, or else he has to be loud about the Bible. I mean, do you understand? I mean, he has to be loud about it, or else he has to make up a story about him, or else he has to give a story of Jesus Christ. So he gets 12 disciples, and then he has to go in front of people. I mean, do you understand? Back then, that's how it is. Or else now, you have to understand that now, because we have internet, we no longer have to go that much in front of people like Jesus Christ does. I mean, understand? Or else, yes, we still have to go in front of people. I promise you, it always stays that we have to go in front of people. But now we can be much more silent, or else we can be much more silent and do exactly as Jesus Christ is doing, but on the internet. Or else now, do we have to do exactly as Jesus Christ is doing in front of people? Or else now, understand that what we can do with Jesus Christ now, or as we can do everything that Jesus Christ is doing online and in life. I realize although that what the amazing aspect of life is, I understand, is that you realize something. Whereas now, back then, Jesus Christ has to go in front of people to make up this story of the Bible, and he has to be loud and successful like this, because that's the best way in Jesus' time. Or as the best time now, because we have internet, or as today we have to be much more silent in front of people around us, because Jesus Christ today, without the internet, will go in front of people to be loud. But because we have the internet, I understand that Danny Milivojevic, in terms of you and anybody, in terms of Jesus Christ, I'm pretty sure now Jesus Christ is much more than anybody. You must understand that it's because of the information of the Bible. I'm pretty sure that you must understand that it's more, realize this, that today you have to understand that silence and being silent around people today in front of you is going to help you to be safer, or it's going to help you to understand much more of a nice, beautiful way to say that you'll be a much better individual in the process. And what's going to happen is, you're going to be much more silent around people, and then you're going to be loud online instead. Because if you're loud in front of people and positive in front of people today around you, that's never on the internet, but you will end up like Jesus Christ. Now, I understand that it's the best road that you go with Jesus Christ. I promise you, the best road that I want for you, I want you to live longer than Jesus Christ. I want you to understand, I want you to live longer, in a sense, so you can still do Jesus Christ work, you can still follow Jesus Christ, but you never have to go around people today to give them a live performance, and you never have to go up to them specifically to teach them something. You can do it online today. I mean, do you understand? Or else back then, Jesus Christ had no choice but to go in front of people. Or else today we have a choice, or else we have a choice to never go in front of people and to just go online to do it. I mean, understand? Because when we're online doing it, Russia, it's much better than going in front of people today to do it. Because when you're in front of people to do it, Russia, they get jealous, because that's how Jesus Christ says so. Russia, every single day, I understand the sun is actually beaming on me today. Russia, now all I have to do is I have to go around somewhere where there's some shade so that I can go and do my work and continue my work. I understand, guys, so I just had to move really quickly so I can do this work. So every single day, understand that now I can pull back and I can be much more, let's say, in the shade, because there's some shade around here. So either way, I understand every single day. Focus upon understanding that now I respect Jesus Christ. I love Jesus Christ so much that I follow Jesus Christ. But understand, if I go around people being the loudest now and being the more positive individual that's never online, and let's say I'm doing my work in front of people actually without being online for that. I understand, because this is online work. But let's say that we never do online work and we go in front of people to be the most positive and the most loudest. Perhaps they'll shoot you. Perhaps they'll kill you, because you are just so popular, or they're just so jealous. I understand. So what you do every single day is focus upon reversing that psychology and go and do it online instead, rather than in front of people. I mean, understand? Because when you're doing it online and you're successful online and you have all this nice, beautiful content online to help people, I mean, guess what? You will be online forever. So understand, that's the new way today. But the new way is Jesus Christ comes today to never be in front of people. I mean, Jesus Christ can do this work today in front of a phone and internet, and he never has to go doing it in front of people like he did before. I mean, understand? Because Jesus Christ learns from that situation and says, hey, why do I need to be in front of people this time? I mean, I could do it in front of an audience online instead. I mean, do you get me now? Or as Jesus Christ will never repeat that mistake. I mean, understand? Because back then, that's what Jesus has to do. But now, Jesus says, hey, instead of me doing that and dying the same way, I mean, let me try something new. I mean, understand? Because God always wants to live a new way, and God wants to always do something different, because that's how it is. Whereas now, if Jesus Christ is here today, he does the online work today much more than anything. Because understand, that's the way. I mean, understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that Jesus Christ may have 12 disciples around him still, in daily life, but he's going to be doing it online instead, rather than in front of people. And then what happens is Jesus Christ just keeps on giving you that knowledge, and then people around you see that you're very successful, and then they call you eventually. And then you can go because they're calling you. But Jesus Christ goes to them without them actually calling Jesus Christ. Understand? Or as Jesus Christ goes toward them. Or as now they may call Jesus Christ here and there to heal the blind and to heal the sick and heal people, or as and heal people. But understand that when Jesus Christ goes to people in terms of the Pharisees, or as Jesus Christ never asks for their permission, or Jesus Christ just goes to them, and that's why they hate Jesus Christ. Understand? So this is the same thing that if you go online sending people your content today, and you're sending them content that, let's say, is helping them, or as they will never appreciate your content, or as they'll never appreciate you, so never talk to them. I mean, why is that? Because they're very negative people. Now, if you're talking to a girl or man or somebody online to help them, and you're sending them messages, or as they never reply to you, or as now because they never reply to you, or as they are showing you silent treatment here, and now, yes, it's positive that they never reply to you. I promise it's a positive feel, but understand that if they do talk to you, or as they can get negative and they can get positive with their communication. So mostly, and 99% of the time, they're always negative with their replies. I understand? And now, it's either you're going to get 99% of a negative confirmation about you online when you write to somebody, or 99% of the time, they may actually also never reply, or 1% of the time, they may write to you in a positive way. I mean, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it to get that or is it worth it to get that 1% positive remark about your work? I mean, what for? I mean, you are the one that's the 1% of the remark in your life. You must understand that you are 100% and more about life. You know, so every single day, never rely on their validation about your work. I mean, because they never appreciate your work. I mean, do you understand? I mean, guess what? I realize that 1% of the time they appreciate you. I mean, 1% of the time. I mean, guess what? I mean, forget about them and never send them anything. Or else now, if you're sending people and you're giving money to send them your content, or else they also never appreciate you. I mean, they never appreciate you regardless of what you're doing, because you may be giving money to go and promote yourself in front of people or you may be giving money to promote yourself in front of people who hate you. I understand? Because they never appreciate you regardless. So what you do is you have to be more silent about life. You have to understand it's much more about silence today than it is about loudness. Now, if you're the loudest, you can be the loudest and the most positive, but you can also be the loudest and the most negative. Whereas now, understand that it's much better to be the loudest and the most positive like Jesus Christ back in the day. And even today, it still stands. But let's be the loudest online and the most positive instead of Jesus Christ's way in front of people. Understand? Because let's say that they invite you though. I mean, let's say people invite you to do a public speaking gig somewhere. I mean, now, be the loudest and the positive on the stage. Or be the loudest and the most positive because they called you. Or as they're calling you, you go. Or so when they have attention, you go. But let's say you have a music career today. You have to understand the music career is actually very much alive in some way. But you have to understand that music is always going to be alive. But understand that the events that you want to do around the world, you have to understand it's really minimal amount that you want to be doing. You have to understand, you have to be doing everything a minimal amount. But understand that you have to let them call you. You have to understand that you have to be in recognition. You have to put yourself out there in a way that they can recognize you silently. I mean, how can you today make sure that people can recognize you silently? I mean, what you can do is go to a busking event and just sit down for 8 hours and promote your music and everything. And just promote yourself and promote yourself and promote yourself. And now it's a long journey. You have to understand that it's a long journey throughout life to be able to succeed every single day and to be able to do your content and whatever you want to do. But today, I'm in Newcastle and I went walking around today. And it's been already 3 hours since I've been walking around and doing travel photos. And now when I do travel photos with my Samsung, I do it on live focus mode. And why live focus mode? Because it may show me a box and that box may be still, and then I take a photo because the photo is still. So that's a live focus mode where some box may be going around your nice beautiful video, and as soon as that box is still on your video, or else that's the best time to go and do a photo. But sometimes travel photos, in terms of the just normal range of travel photos that you can do, or else it never shows you that box. So I use the live focus mode just for that. although you have to be teaching people life skills really quickly, and you have to understand that life's going really quickly. So focus upon sometimes even going backwards and just stay at 1 meter away from the actual portable speaker and from your video like this, so you can show your people. So that you can show people who you are and how you actually look like. And I always want to be able to do my nice beautiful videos with a microphone this time, because I love the microphone. I love to be doing it like this because you can amplify the sound and you can amplify your portable speaker into the actual audio, and it makes it seem like a beautiful event and it makes it seem professional, doesn't it? But I understand if I take away this right now, you understand how I actually do this over here? Do you see the difference? Because there's a big difference, isn't it? Because I have to raise my voice the other way. I have to raise my voice, so I much rather go and do it on a microphone like this. You understand? Because I can amplify the sound. I can amplify the sound and make it louder. I realize, although, you have to understand that every single day, focus upon doing something that you love to do. So this one's already in full volume. So I understand that before you even do the video, put it on loud volume. Understand? But if the volume is on halfway or something, put it on loud volume. Do you understand? Because that way, you're going to be doing better. So I understand that there's some people around me doing noise because they're doing something around the work of the 9 to 5. So guess what? Or what's amazing is understand that now I can be so loud in front of people and do whatever I want online. Understand? Because online it's worth it. But if you're in front of people and you're so loud about your success and they're not doing what you are doing, they're going to be jealous of you. So definitely there's somebody out there right now that never does what you do. I promise you, the whole world is never doing what you're doing. I promise you now, I'm never jealous of you. I never ever swap my lifestyle for anything. I never swap my life right now for even Jesus Christ. Understand? Because why? I understand I love Jesus Christ. Guess what? I want Jesus Christ to have that lifestyle for himself, but I want to live my life. I want to live, I never want to go into that position where Jesus Christ is. But I understand I want to follow Jesus Christ. I want to follow Jesus Christ, but I want to be able to live my life right now. I understand? So I never swap my life for anything. I never swap my life for other people's success. Understand? Or is that now? I'm already successful. Why? Just because you have to understand, I'm so successful, I never want to trade my life and my story for anybody else's story. Do you understand me now? I never want to trade my story of Daniel Milivojevic for Jesus Christ's story. Understand? Because Jesus Christ is his own story. I'm my own story. I never want to swap my life around for anything. My story is blissful. My story is amazing. Understand? That's where you need to be. I want everybody to have their own story. I want you to understand that if you're the one saying that you rather swap your life for somebody else's, that means because you're unhappy. You're unhappy about your life. I'm happy about my life, so I never want to swap my life and trade my life for somebody else. I never want to step in other people's shoes. I want to step in my shoes only. Understand? I want to step in my shoes only and follow Jesus Christ. Understand? So that's the only difference. Because when I follow Jesus Christ, I understand who I am. But I understand every single day, that's how I live my life. I live my life free. I live my life to the best potential I can live every single day. So every single day I focus upon understanding that there's always something much better to do. So I focus upon lifting people every single day, and I go in the shade, because sometimes the sun can actually be, let's say, under the clouds and it's never that hot anymore. But as soon as the sun is beaming at you, and it's actually beaming at you, I see danger. I see actually dangerous material there. So what's amazing is understand that means that you must get away from the sun because it's beaming at you. You understand? I realize the bun when the sun is beaming at you, you have to understand you have a bum. I understand every single day. You must focus on getting yourself into shade. Go into shade and focus upon a better life like that. I'm promising now, I never do my life coaching videos inside a restaurant. And why is that? Because they're pumping music and there's people around and there's people talking. So I never do my nice beautiful life coaching videos around cars and roadways and where trucks are going to be beeping and where boats are going to be saying boom. Understand? So I never go there. I never go around construction either, where people are going to be hammering something or jackhammering something. Understand? I never go where the trams are and the transport is to do my life coaching videos, because what's amazing every single day is focusing upon something that you love to do. So what's amazing is I have a nice beautiful sock over here. So I feel like I'm one of those individuals who lives on the farm. You understand? I just have to do something. Whereas now, that's much more of something that you need to do in a professional way, much more. Whereas now, why did I put my sock around my actual, let's say, microphone? Because I understand that the wind is blowing. I understand the wind is blowing, so I just do it in the actual despair of the moment, because I understand I have to actually put my sock on so that no wind actually goes through my microphone. So every single day, focus upon understanding that you have to have the best quality audio that you can. So that's why I put the actual sock right here, because that's the best I can do right now. It's the best I can do, because understand that when you're going grabbing yourself a dynamic microphone, make sure that it has something covering the actual microphone, like a sock or something. Understand it has to be better than a sock. It has to have like a furry hairball on top of the actual microphone, such as something like this, that can be over the microphone piece. Get yourself one of those microphones that have the soft part at the top or something like that, so that you can go and do your videos much better. So focus upon that, and then understand that if you want to go the more affordable way for now, get yourself a sock, and then just put the sock over the actual microphone piece, and it does work. So focus upon understanding that when you're really lifting people in the process of doing what you want to do, go and focus on your life rather than other people. And then that way you're going to be doing something in the open, you're going to be doing something in the shade somewhere, and you're going to be alone. And then understand that if it's so cold around you, you have to understand that you go and put your clothes on. You bring a jumper with you, you bring all your clothes with you, you bring your shopping with you, you bring your portable speaker, you bring a camping chair with you, and you bring your shoulder bag with you and yourself, and guess what? You have a trolley. You understand? You have a trolley, and now since you have a camping chair, you have to understand you can sit anywhere in life silently. Silently you can do anything. Guess what? I was that just the other day. I was this woman in this hostel, but I just go to see them. I just look at them like this, and I'm in silent, and they're like, or she's actually looking at me because she's so attracted to me in terms of my eye. Or now she's very, let's say, much more in attraction with me, and she has this attraction factor with me. And I look at her, and I just move away because I never want to say anything to her. But it's that kind of humor. You understand? I realize I do it on purpose. Or some woman says hello, I realize I say, I just never even talk to her. You understand? Because guess what? It's attractive. Understand? Or now, guess what? That what's amazing is just recently I see this crowd, and this crowd ends up just being, let's say, with more people. But what happens is it starts off with 2 people, and they're playing the pool table, and they're very drunk and talking to each other, very drunk, and they're very negative about everything. But they want to have sex together. Apparently, that's why they're playing pool table before they have sex at 3 o'clock in the morning. So what happens is another individual comes there, and this woman comes there, and now she's the loudest one there. But now, guess what? Or is that these other 2 fall into the silent path. Why is that? Because she's the loudest. Or is now because she's the loudest in the group, or she's negative upon the group. And now, because she's negative upon a group, these 2 that are silent are actually learning from somebody who is negative. You understand? So what you do in that situation, when more negative people come into your life, you move away from that situation. So what they have to do is, because she's so loud, or else they have to go and have sex if they want to. But understand that if they choose to stay with the negative individual, to just listen to negativity, or else that's because they're turning negative. You understand? Or else now, if you listen to negative information, or else that's what you are. You become negative information. So get yourself away from negative people as soon as they start joining the group. Understand? So what happens is that group is now, let's say 3 of them, or else she's the loudest, but they're talking. And now understand either way that these 2 want to have sex, or else they want to go have sex, or else they want to go, but they're not going, or else they're not leaving. So because they are never even going there, or else now another individual comes on the top and starts to speak over the crowd. And now there's 4 of them, but this individual who just joined, or who's just joining the group, is even more negative. So what he does is he starts speaking more negativity into the group, and he's actually negative because he's a drug addict. You understand? And now this other individual, who was the second loudest, is now more silent than this actual one that just came into the group, because now this guy, who is the king of the group, is the most negative in that group. You understand? Because now these 2 individuals who started off together are now more silent than this woman who came into the group, and now this guy as well. So either way, those 2 are still standing there, although you have to understand they have to leave the group because it gets more negative throughout time. You understand? But what happens here is the negativity just shifts over into somebody else. I understand? Because the woman is leading them into negativity, or the woman there, in terms of 3 of them, is leading them into negativity because she's negative. But then another negative individual comes over the top to lead all of them into negativity now. I understand? So what happens is this woman that was so negative is now learning as well from the actual negative individual who just joined them. I understand? So what happens is another 2 individuals come, and these other 2 individuals make 6 people now, but these 2 individuals are now even louder than these people because they join the crew as well, and they're going to be louder than all of them, and they're even much more negative. You understand? So when another individual joins the crowd again, or else what happens is, or else it gets more negative. I understand? Or else it never gets more positive. I understand? Because why? You understand that when it gets more positive, or else that they get jealous to kill you. I understand? That's what it is. So what happens is, if I go into the actual group now, or else now there's 50 of them. I mean, there's 50 people there, but they're all negative. Or else there's one leader who's the most heard. Or else this leader comes when there's 49 people, or else this leader comes when there's 50. Or else now, for example, he may come at the 50th mark and be the 50th leader in that group, but he's going to be the loudest, or she's going to be the loudest in that group. But they have the most attention in that group. I mean, do you understand? Because they came in the spot of 50. So when you have 49 people in a group, or is that 49th individual who came into the group at 49 is the biggest one in the group, or else they're the most popular in the group because they're the most negative. You understand? And then the 50th individual comes along, and then what happens here is they turn negative as well. And then they're teaching everybody to be much more negative here. I understand, because it has to be that way. But guess what? Or else now, if you understand that I become the 51st individual, I come to the group now, I join the group, but I'm positive now. I'm positive, and they're all negative, and I'm teaching them positivity. I mean, they're all jealous of me. I mean, do you understand? I mean, they're all jealous of me. But guess what? Or else they're all jealous of the negative individual also. I mean, understand? I mean, they're still jealous of the individual, but actually you have to understand that they are so negative that they love each other. I mean, they love each other so much because they're so negative. So negative people who are around negative people love each other. But as soon as a positive individual comes to a negative group, or as a negative group and the positive group can never combine together. I mean, do you understand that? So what happens is, this is the case with Jesus Christ, because let's say the whole crowd and the whole city is negative upon Jesus Christ, but Jesus Christ comes to the negative crowd to teach them positivity. What happens is the negative crowd hates them, or else the negative crowd hates Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ is so positive, so they put him on the cross to die. I understand? So if I go into the actual crowd now and I become the 51st individual who comes into that crowd to be positive this time, because I understand they're all negative, because that's what Jesus Christ does. Or now, I stand there and I start to talk, but I'm the spotlight now. I'm the spotlight. I'm so successful. You understand? I prove it. But guess what? Or else they all hate me now. Or else they hate me. I mean, you understand? Or, I mean, why? Because I'm so positive and they're negative. Or else they never get my communicational skills. I mean, why is that? Because their communicational skills is something degrading, while my communicational skills is something that opens the door into growth. You understand? Because their communicational skills is killing them. I mean, they're dying with their communicational skills. Or else they're talking negative only. I mean, you understand that? I'm talking positive only. So people who talk positive only can never be with people who are negative only. Because negative people get jealous of positive people, and the negative people are the ones who kill the positive ones. I mean, understand? Because the positive ones will never kill the negative ones. I mean, understand? So that's what I mean. So guess what? Or else, what do I do? I never joined the group in the first place. But let's say that negative group calls me. I mean, what do? I'll be the most silent in that group, regardless. I mean, understand? Because why? Or else if I'm the most silent in that group who calls me, or else that what I do is I become the most silent again because they expect me to be negative. I mean, understand? So let's say those individuals who are 50 individuals who are negative call me over because they feel that I'm attractive. Or now what I do is I never even go there. I just say, I'm busy over here. I have something to do over here. Understand? But if I choose to go to that group, I come there, and what do? I promise you, as soon as I speak one word in that group, I promise you, they already jealous of me. I mean, understand? So what I do is I reject them. I reject them in the first place, because that way they're going to be like, I mean, that's unusual. I mean, that guy wants to just be alone, though. Whereas now, that's positive. I promise you now, that's positive, but this way, it's much more silent, because they're asking you a question, you answer. You can answer this question. You can say, I have so much work to do over here. I have so much work. You guys do you. I mean, now, because you say that, or as now, because you never joined the group in the first place, or as they love you. I mean, they love you because you're never joining the group, but you're positive. But if you join the group of negative people, or as if you join their group and they're negative, or as they hate you. Or as now, if you go to their group, but you never joined them in the first place to lead them in a positive way, I mean, they hate you. You understand? But if you answer to them and they call you over and you say, no, I've got something to do, I have something to do, I mean, you may be positive, but you're never joining them in the first place. And that's why they love you. I mean, you understand? I mean, they love you this time because, why is that? Because you're never joining that group. But as soon as you try to join that group, you have to shut up. You understand? I mean, never even speak one word. I mean, if they answer, or if they ask you one aspect of life in that sentence of, how was your day? I mean, never even reply in front of the group. Because understand, if you say something, or else what happens is they get negative. I understand? And that's how it is. You have to understand, because you're the spotlight. You're the spotlight in that group. You understand? Or else even if they call you, they will hate you. I mean, do you understand that? I mean, even if they call you, they will hate you because they're negative already. You understand? So never go there. I mean, never go where negative people are, because they're dangerous, even though there's 50 of them. I mean, understand? I mean, even there's 1,000 of them. I mean, even there's 1 billion of them who call you. I mean, never go there. So if negative people call you in the area to go anywhere, and you understand they're negative, I mean, you understand they have much poorer habits than you, and you understand that they have women or whatever, but they have, I mean, they are negative. I mean, they have women or men, but they're negative. I mean, never go there in the first place, because if you go there, you'll be the spotlight and they'll hate you. I mean, they'll cause trouble around you. I mean, they'll say, you post one video online that said this and we want you to take it down, because if you don't take it down, I mean, we're going to do something. I mean, guess what? You must move away from those people. You understand? Otherwise, I never hurt you, but move away from those people, because I understand Jesus Christ today never wants to go around people, really. I mean, Jesus Christ wants to be alone and doing his work online now. I mean, understand? Brother, that's it. Brother, back then, it's different. Brother, back then, there was no internet. So Jesus Christ has to go in front of people to do this, because that's what Jesus Christ says. It's worthy. And I say it's worthy. Brother, it's worthy to back then go in front of people, because if you're the most silent in the crowd, but you're the most positive, I mean, how do you even cease to exist in that world? I mean, how do you actually live around negative people silently without giving a story? I mean, in a sense, so what does Jesus Christ do in this situation? Or does Jesus Christ goes in front of the crowd to give his story, and to get the 12 disciples run away to give his story and to be the most positive, and that's it. Because otherwise, I mean, Jesus Christ understands that these people are all negative. I mean, Jesus Christ has to talk to people, but Jesus Christ never wants to, let's say, get more negative, because if Jesus Christ gets more negative with them, or as now what happens there, or as what happens here, is Jesus Christ can lead all of them. I mean, guess what happens over here? But what happens is, or as if Jesus Christ turns anti-Christ and never makes the 10 Commandments, I mean, guess what? Or as there's another way. I mean, watch this. I mean, every single day that he goes and does the opposite of what Jesus Christ wants to do. I mean, now he's the leader and he's the emperor of that town, and he's the biggest and highest remark. Because why? Because he's leading people into destruction. I mean, understand? I mean, he is something of a leader in that group, but I mean, his intention is for everybody to suffer, and his intention then is for everybody his intention then is for everybody to die and to kill people in front of them, and also to control them in a negative way, and also to damage them in a negative way. And that's what you see today with politics. I mean, why are politics today? I mean, why is the government this way? Because they're negative, and they want to control you, and they want to make you suffer, and they want to destroy you because they are negative. I mean, do you understand? I mean, they want to strangle you. I mean, they want to strangle you, because that's what Jesus Christ is if he becomes Antichrist and something that he is really, really other than what he is. I mean, now, Jesus Christ is so positive. I mean, do you understand? But let's say Jesus Christ is so negative back in those days. I mean, now, the Bible of the story of Jesus Christ is never even done anymore. Or as you never even have that story anymore. But then what he does is, he starts to place all these laws and police, and he tries to kill people, and he tries to damage those people, and he tries to take away their money, or as he tries to take away their freedom, because that's Antichrist. I mean, that's something that's never Jesus Christ today. So anything that's Jesus Christ today is what you understand about Jesus Christ today. But let's say Jesus Christ is the opposite of that. Or as now, you see the government today, you see the police today, you see the systems of the world today. I mean, that's the opposite of Jesus Christ today. I mean, you understand me? So what's amazing is understand that, or as now, guess what? Or as now, back in those days, or as if Jesus Christ goes totally negative instead of positive, you understand the government today and the police. Or as the police and government are totally against you. I mean, totally. Or as even if they go and put somebody who kills somebody in a prison, or as they're still negative against you. I mean, they're still negative about the whole situation. Because what the government does today is they just want to be negative upon you, and that's it. I mean, they never want you to succeed. I mean, you understand? I mean, they never want you to succeed because that's antichrist. I mean, anything that's antichrist today is delifting you and uninspiring you. I mean, understand? So what you do, you get around Jesus Christ and inspire people online, and that's it. I mean, understand? And be more silent today. So what you do is realize this now, that if Jesus back in those days started to govern people in a negative way, Roshi, what happens is Jesus Christ lives a long life over here. Roshi, Jesus Christ will live a long life, but really, Roshi, no. Roshi, now, those people who are negative and governing people negative will die earlier than it, or else they'll die earlier. But understand either way, what's amazing is if you go and govern people in a negative way, or else now, you never govern people in a negative way. Roshi, that's amazing. So every single day, understand that if you go and see Jesus Christ, and if he goes and governs people in a negative way, or as what happens is, or as he wants to tear the city down, or as he wants to be the actual Egypt of the Prince of Egypt or the King of Egypt, who goes and kills all these people and makes some slaves to go and work for the pyramid. And they whip the people because that's what negative people do. I mean, understand? I mean, that's the negative part of life. I mean, understand? So that's antichrist. And that's anything that's never antichrist. So Jesus Christ never stands for antichrist. I mean, Jesus Christ stands for Jesus Christ. I mean, understand? So what Jesus Christ stands for is positivity in the world. And that's it. I mean, understand? But anything that's never positive is negative. And that's the government today. I mean, those are the people who are whipping slaves and making people slaves. And now, whereas the world is full of negativity and positivity. I mean, you have to understand. But the world is always positive, and the world is good because Jesus Christ is here. I mean, understand? I mean, that's it. I promise you, although, what you do now is, since you understand this information, you get away from people, and get away from the government, and get away from politics, and get away from everybody to be much more positive. I mean, understand? Because if you're in front of people, and you're in front of other people, or as they're mostly negative, you have to understand, they're mostly negative. So you get away from people to be more positive. And that's it. Or as now, if you want to be less in danger in this lifetime, or as if you want to be less in danger, you get away from people. Totally. You get away from everybody and be with yourself. And then you understand why you shall succeed. But if you go around people, you then have to be negative. You understand? Because guess what? Or else if you have to be negative, you never have to be negative. You understand? It's more that those people who are negative go to, or else they go together, and they're never really, or else they're never weary, or else they're never wary, or let's say aware, or as now, you have to understand that people who are wary are aware. A person, they're never wary and aware that those people who are negative around them, that they are influencing themselves around negativity, but understand that they are so much in confusion about life, and they believe that negative people are their friend. I mean, these individuals who are trying to be positive are going around the crowd believing that the negative crowd is their friend. Ironically, that's where I woke up. I woke up over here because I woke up to jingles. I mean, understand? I left the crowd and I came back to the crowd before. And what happens here is they totally say, fuck off. I mean, do you understand? Because I was never drinking alcohol anymore. I was never smoking cigarettes anymore. I was never doing drugs anymore. And they just never vibe with me anymore. I mean, do you understand? I mean, they turn against me for being positive. So understand, it's because they're antichrist. Understand? So what I've learned throughout my life now is I have to be alone much more. I have to be alone and I have to get away from the crowd as much as possible so that I can be much more successful, because they are negative on me. Or they're so negative on me. I mean, do you understand? Because if I go in front of them, I can speak, I can be with them, and I can be loud and positive. But then guess what? Or else if I'm loud and positive around them, or else they'll kill me anyway. Understand? So what do? I get away from them to be loud and positive. I get away from people altogether to be loud and positive, because I go and do it online instead. Or now that's my business. But understand that if I go in front of people today and to lead them and to say positivity in the world and positive remarks in front of them, and they're so negative, unfortunately they're going to kill me. Understand? So understand the world is dangerous when you're going in front of the crowd to be positive. Understand? I mean, the world is so dangerous when you want to go around people to be positive. Understand? But if you want to be alone and away from people and in silence and be alone with yourself and get away from people, you'll always be safe. You understand? You will be safe, I promise you, if you go the silent road and if you go alone and you get away from the crowd. You'll be safe. I mean, you understand? But if you go to the crowd to be positive or to be negative, you've lost. I mean, do you understand? You've lost if you go to the crowd to be positive and negative. So what you do every single day is focus upon something that you love to do, and then understand every single day you have to lift people. You have to understand every single day you have to lift people, but lift yourself only. I mean, never try to lift other people. I mean, never try to inspire other people. I mean, never try to inspire them. I mean, just inspire you. Because what happens every single day is understand that you're worth it, but they're never worth it. I promise you, they're never worth it. But understand that what's amazing every single day is it's that kind of world. You have to understand that if you're sending people content and you're sending them your content, or else they're so negative about you and your content, or else they'll never ever give you a positive remark about your content and your ideas and what you are in life. So what you have to do is you have to clarify for yourself and really, really understand yourself to be with yourself only. Because even your biological parents are negative on you. I promise you. Everybody else is negative on you except Jesus Christ. You understand? I'm never negative on you. I will lift you. I can lift you. But you have to understand that you have to learn. You have to grow. You understand? But understand now, I'm so much more aware because I'm doing this video that I understand the people around me now. I understand I never want to go around them. But if I go around them, I can go around them. I can stealth my success. I can stealth it. I can be invisible in front of them. And I just never want to talk to them. I can go to the pubs. I can go anywhere where negative people are, but I just be the most silent. I just never join the group. I just never join them. I can go and experience anything I want to in this lifetime. I can go anywhere I want to. I can go back to the past to visit people who I've been with, but to be silent only and to never talk to them. Whereas now, if I go back to that past where I see those people and I can see them today, and I grew up with them, but guess what? I realize they're all negative. I realize they're all negative, and I'm a good. You understand? I promise you, this world is good. So anyway, I realize that what's amazing is if I go there, I realize that I may get a seat in the middle somewhere, but I'm just going to be alone. I'm never going to be with them. I want to do my work and experience the whole place for myself, but get the hell out of there as soon as possible. And I never want to be with them. You understand? Because if I be with them, it has to be negative. You understand? Whereas if I be with them, I understand that either way, I die. Now, what's amazing is I never die. So realize this. I stay away from them so that I grow. I promise you, it's that simple, isn't it? But if I go to them, I have to be the most silent and grow in silence. Whereas now, in front of the crowd, you can only ever be silent. I mean, do you understand? Whereas now, what my plan is, whereas now, is to go to busking performances in Sydney, Australia, so that I can be silent only in front of the crowd. Because that way, they never recognize me. Whereas now, what happens is, whereas now, I get different results over here. Whereas now, I get happier results over here. To be able to be a live performer in front of people silently. And now, because I'm so silent, they will start to follow me because I'm so silent. I mean, understand? But if I'm so loud and successful, or else they'll never ever follow me. I mean, understand? Because guess what? I put myself in danger in front of people. I went in front of people to give a live performance, to be positive and loud. Or else they hate me. I mean, understand? Or else they hate me so much. I mean, they're unaware of how much they hate me. I mean, understand? And now, are they causing me damage, or is only one of them out of 5 million of them, or only one of them out of 5 million and more people have hit me purposefully? I understand? I mean, now, guess what? Or if I go there silently, and what happens? Or I'll be in silence, and they'll follow me for the rest of my life. I mean, understand? Or that's it. First, now, what happens is, or they'll watch me online. But online, you have to understand that now, since I have so much success online, you have to understand that now, I convert them really into my successful path. I understand? I convert them into followers through busking performances, through silent performances. I understand me? So when I go silent performances with busking, I convert them into my online followers for life. I understand? But they'll never kill me. Or else they'll never kill me because they now believe that I'm somebody, or they now believe that I'm somebody positive. But if I go up to their face and I start rambling positivity at them, or else they'll never follow me. I mean, why? Because they're so negative. But if I go in front of them being silent and they follow me silently, I promise you, that's the conversion. You convert people through silence. You do everything through silence. Whereas now, if you want to sell somebody on anything, you sell them through silence. So find the silent way to do your life. I mean, find the silent way to promote yourself. I mean, what's a silent way today? You have to understand that if you're on advertisements today and you put an advertisement somewhere about life, and what happens is, if you do it in silence, you win. Whereas now, if somebody goes and puts you in a nice, beautiful silence of path in terms of life, or else it must be you. You must understand that now, since you understand that people who are online, or else if you send them content, Or is that what happens here is you win. You win straight away. You have to understand that what's amazing is every single day that you can go and talk to people online, and people may get negative with you online. But what happens is, or is that you win anyway. You win because they're never with you. Or they're never with you. I mean, understand? Because that's the way to be. You can go online today, and what you do is you talk to more people online and boost your name online alone. I mean, that's another path that you can do. But you have to talk to people much more online. You have to make it your whole day's worth of life for you to go up to people and go to new people online and talk to them and say, how was your day and what are you doing? And what did you do over here and what did you do over here? But get to understand them online, and then they have already been, or you're already converting them online into your presence to watch you for life. I mean, all you have to do is speak positively with them online. I promise you, it's that simple to make an extra conversion or to make people follow you online forever. I mean, understand? So what you do is be a good individual every single day and focus on the online work. Now, I promise you, now, guess what? Or is that my work, I'd rather do this though. I'd rather go to Sydney and be in front of people in silence, because I never have to talk to them. I never have to talk to them. I want to talk with myself with my eye. But understand now, you understand the promotional mark, which is silence is your key. Or if you want a wife or a husband, you can only win them over in silence. You can never win them over in being loud. Or now, if you understand that those people who are loud but negative can win anybody over who's negative. I understand? Or now, understand that what's amazing is understand that if a negative individual wins over a positive individual, I promise you, what happens over here is the positive individual can still stay positive, and the negative individual can still be negative. Or now, understand either way that sometimes a negative individual can get with a positive individual, but the positive individual has to be much more silent than the negative individual. Understand? Because what happens here is understand that if you go and do something that you're positive about in front of negative people, or else they'll hate you regardless. But if you are just more silent in front of people who are negative, you will win them over in front of their face as something much bigger. You understand? Because you are never trying to dominate the conversation, but you are just being much more positive in front of them by being more silent to hear them out. Understand? But understand that if a negative individual comes up into your video, such as they did with me in busking performances, or is that this individual comes up to me and starts talking to me all this negativity and starts criticizing me negatively, but I'm very silent about this. I'm very silent about everything. And then guess what happens? I convert him into a positive individual. Understand? I convert him into following me for life because I'm so silent to hear his thoughts and what he has to say. Understand? So when you hear people out, just hear them out, you will convert them into your follower. Understand? So what's amazing now is understand that today is online work. You can do everything online, but understand that hashtagging never works. Now, it does work. Hashtagging does work. But what you need to realize, now, is just make sure you're doing much more of your content than anything in life. When you're doing your content and you're really, really enjoying yourself along the way, get away from people. Never go to the past because they're all negative. And now understand that negative people who are the loudest attract all the women and men who are negative. And they influence those negative people to have sex with them and everything. Understand? So negative people can influence negative people to have sex and to have drugs and to have everything. Negative. Understand? That's what they do. Negative people go and have sex around everywhere and they go on the drugs and they're just there to die. Or they're there to never be there for anybody. Do you understand? Or else they're never even there for themselves. Or else that's what they're convincing everybody to do, is the negative people. Or else that's the government. Or else the government is convincing you today to do nothing but the government's work today. Or else now the government's work is something that you have to understand that if you go to the government's work and you go and be the loudest and the most positive there, I promise you what happens is, or else they want to kill you. Or else they want to destroy you. So what happens is, if you go there, be the most loud and most positive. Be the most loud and the most positive at your work. And then guess what? Or else they'll kick you out. Or else they'll fire you. Or else they'll fire you straight away. Understand that. Guess what? Because they're so negative upon you. They are so negative upon you. Do you understand? Because that's what you do. Or else now, when you're around negative people, you have to understand that you have to be so loud. You have to be so loud and so positive in front of negative people. You understand? That's what Jesus Christ is doing in front of people who are negative in front of him back then. But now it's all clear or it's more obvious for me about now what I have to do. Understand? Because I understand I want to stay away from a 9-to-5 job as much as possible. I understand? So what I do is I grab the government's money and I get away from people as much as possible. Alright, now my life may get cut short because I'm so positive and because I'm so loud and positive. But guess what? I have a way out. I have a way out through my busking performances, and I have 10 years to be 38. I understand? I have 10 years until 38 years of age. But guess what? I have 10 years to be promoting myself in silence at a busking event for 10 years without the 9-to-5 job. I understand? So in silence, I go. I understand? So what I do is I have a way out, and that's a silence word, or that's a silent road. So if you want a silent road, you go to silent path and you go busking right now. And if you're in Australia and you live in Alice Springs, you get to Sydney, Australia right now. I mean, all of you get to Sydney, Australia if you're in Australia. But if you're in some other part of Mexico, for example, you go to Mexico City, because over there's 20 million people that you can promote yourself in that city. You understand? So you guys have four times more people than me. You understand? Whereas now, you have to understand that you have to get yourself around people. And you have to be silent in front of people as much as you can. But if people approach you on the streets and they talk with you, you have to talk with them in a way that you're listening to them and you're talking to them. Whereas now, if you're only speaking over them in a positive way, now they're jealous of you. Now, if you listen to negative people, you will win them over. You win over negative people, you understand? But guess what? What's amazing is understand now that since you understand much more about communicational skills and how to market yourself, whereas now your opportunity is this. Whereas realize you must go and do your work today, and then make sure you're really, really traveling around the world and focusing upon yourself and growth. But then go where you need to go, and then understand every single day, focus upon positivity and staying away from people much more throughout life. Understand? And go and do your work alone. And then guess what? You may have a wife or kids or something like that. So either way, you must have a spouse if you want to have a spouse. Or now, every single day, you must understand that it's just be much more positive and loud around your family. You understand? Or if you're around your family and your biological family, you speak the loudest. You speak the loudest over here, and you connect with them as much as possible. But understand now that if you start messaging them online every single day, you win. You will always win. Or if you call them, or if you're calling people today, you win. You always win. Or the more you call them, or the better for you. So go and connect with people much more online. Or now I encourage you to understand now that if you choose to just talk to yourself all day long without them, you win. You win. So you never have to talk to other people online. You can talk to yourself all day long, and that's it. You never have to be with other people. You never have to message your parents ever again, because you're going to talk to you instead. Understand? You never have to be with them ever again in terms of talking to them online, because you're going to talk to yourself, because you are much more worthy than their conversation with themselves and with you. Alright, now you must understand that every single day, focus upon understanding now, since you get much more of the picture about how to succeed in this Nice Beautiful Tools video. Every single day I'm giving you the tools to succeed, and those tools are the Nice Beautiful Information product that I'm giving you right now. So what you need to do in this video, just to recap everything, is go alone and go silence and market in silence, and go busking performance and do a live performance in silence. Understand? And then do online work and be loud and positive online, and then follow Jesus Christ, but follow Jesus Christ in a way that you're doing it online instead. Those are the 6 areas of life for now. Every single day, focus upon that, and then understand now that since I understand that no matter what, you just understand these rules as well. Stay away from the crowd as much as possible, and understand that if you go to the crowd, you can go anywhere in silence. Understand? That's already 7 tips, but understand that no matter what, you can go anywhere you want in silence, but never be part of a crowd is the 8th tip. And then actually be doing your work and be journaling around people. Or if you're around loud music, just journal something down. But if you go talking to people in a nightclub, I'm pretty sure you're causing trouble over here. Or if you're causing very much a big drama around you over here because you're talking to everybody. You understand? Because guess what? Or at the nightclub, you have to be shutting up. You have to be so silent around people. Understand? Never ever try to go around people to talk to them in a nightclub. Understand? Because what happens here is they're all negative. Understand? Or is they're all negative. But guess what? Or now, you must understand that if you're negative, you can go to everybody in the nightclub and talk to them. What happens here is because they're negative, or they love you so much. Or they love you so much because you're both negative. Understand? But if you're positive, now, you must understand that if you're positive, you never talk to anybody in a nightclub. Or now, if you're negative, you can then talk to people in a nightclub. Understand? Because why? Because negative people go together. Understand? I never go with positive people. I go with positive people. I never go with negative people. So if I go with negative people, I'm the most silent there, and I never talk to anybody there. I never talk to anybody from the past anymore because they're so negative upon me. I mean, understand? I never try to be where they are because they're so negative upon me. I mean, understand? I mean, because they're so negative, you must understand I'm positive. I'm very positive, and that's why I never want to be around negative people, talking to negative people. I never want to associate myself with negative people because I'm positive. You understand? Because positive people and negative people never go together, or else they never gel together. Or else positive people go with positive people, or else negative people go with negative people. Or else now, if you're a negative people, you go with negative people. You understand? I promise you now, guess what? You never go that way. You never go, I promise you, if you're negative people, you go with positive people. You understand? I promise you now, positive people, you just go with positive people. You understand? I promise you now, that's the difference. I promise you now, understand that negative people go with negative people, as it's natural for them. You understand? I mean, positive people go with positive people because that's natural for them. You understand? But now, if you're negative and you understand that, and you understand that you're around negative people, you have to get around positive people. Whereas now, if you understand that you're a positive individual and you're positive people, you stay with positive people and you forget the negative people. You understand? Because positive people are somebody who has a life. You understand? Negative, approach negative people have no life. Even though they have women, or approach they may have women or men and having all this sex around. But guess what? Or is that they are destroying everybody in that family. Or is the negative people will destroy their wife and husband and also their kids with ice. Or they'll be doing ice together in the bedroom and they'll be having sex in the bedroom while the kids are watching as well. Because that's what negative people do. Understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that positive people are much more silent about the sex they have with people. Understand? Or they're much more silent about life. Or they're much more silent and much more respectful of everything. I mean, guess what? I mean, every single day, focus upon understanding that if you and your wife are very positive and you're around positive people, you'll be loud and clear. You'll be loud and clear around positive people. I mean, anything that's positive, you raise your voice with them. You're very positive around here. You understand? But if you're around negative people, you shut the fuck up. You understand? Because that's how you do it. I mean, be very silent around negative people because you're very positive, and understand either way that you have nothing to validate them with other than you. You must understand every single day that what you do around negative people is as soon as you hear them saying negative stuff, because communication skills, I can read them. I can read your first sentence. I mean, I can read it in terms of negative or positive. I can label your first sentence as negative or positive. I can straight away see where you are coming from. You understand? So if you have no IUQ rule, you're already negative for me. You understand? I mean, if you're saying, what's that? I'm not sure you're negative for me. You understand? Because that's how I see it. You must understand the IUQ rule. I look at people who use the IUQ rule or who never use it. And the IUQ rule states you have to start with the word I and finish with the word I. You have to start with the word you. You have to finish with the word you. You have to start with the question and end with the question. I mean, understand? I mean, if you still never understand that, you're very negative upon me. You understand? I promise you now, you are my student, and now you have to understand that either way, that I will teach you this. I will teach you, but guess what? Every single day, focus upon understanding that I am always growing. I'm always looking for ways to improve. I'm always making sure that I'm much more successful. But I feel nice and obligated in terms of I have an obligation now to be online and to be successful online. But now, I understand that what I can do now is just focus on myself and grow. I can focus on myself and grow. I can focus on my music and grow myself with my... I can grow myself with my Netflix and my videos. I can do my travel photos. I can do my music. I can go and write something down. I can go and do my life now. You understand? And I never have to be in front of people. I just have to be around I. Understand? Because understand now that whatever you want to achieve every single day is focus upon planning your life on video. I mean, understand that people who are going on YouTube today and learning from other people are positive. I mean, if you're one of them, I mean, congratulations. I mean, you have to be that individual who's going online to learn from other people, because that's what positive people do. So positive people, I mean, in terms of negative people and positive people, surround themselves around positive people online. Understand? And that's the only way that you can do it today. And understand either way that what you do is, if you're negative or positive, you have to go into the books, you have to go into information today, much more. And then what you find out throughout time is what I understand. And then you understand that the more research you do and whatever in terms of learning and growing, the more you get away from negative people. So your key really is Jesus Christ information and my information and everybody's information, and learn more of that to be much more positive. But understand that readers in terms of life are winners, and leaders are also winning all the time. But understand that what's amazing is understand that you must grow yourself like a leader to be winning all the time. I understand that either way. Or else every single day, understand that negative people surround themselves around negative people, but they never read, or they never consciously read from anybody. You understand? Or now you must understand they're never consciously doing it. I'm consciously picking Eckhart Tolle to be my mentor. I'm consciously picking Jesus Christ and Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and Lewis Howes and Tim Ferriss and Vishnu Lakhiani and Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and John C. Maxwell and all these mentors that I have. You understand? I'm consciously choosing them and Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres and all these people to be in front of them and to learn from them and to understand their lifestyle and their business and their story and their success, because I understand that's what success is to me. Understand? Or success is something much better than yesterday. Understand? So understand that if you're somebody learning much more than yesterday, you are positive. But if you understand negative people are worse than yesterday, or they are never trying to go and select conscious people or anything, and they're never trying to go in front of people to do anything. You understand? So every single day focus upon understanding that negative people hang around negative people and they just want to learn from the crowd around them but do nothing to succeed. So every single day focus upon understanding that there's always much more that you can do around positive people than negative people. So focus upon understanding that if you want to lead people who are negative, you go online every single day and do that every single day. So focus upon understanding that what you need to do every single day is focus upon understanding how are you living your life today and what can you do to succeed today, because that's how you succeed. And now if you understand negative people, for example, my biological dad, I promise you, he goes around people, but he never tries to consciously learn from people. Or else now, what he's doing is he just may go where the crowd takes him. You understand? Roshi, now he may, or as my biological dad is the one that there's 54 people who are negative in the crowd, and he will be the 50th one who's a negative one. I understand? So understand that's my biological dad, but I'm the one who understands that 50 people who are negative in that crew, or as 50 people who are negative in that crew, I'm the one who goes away from that crew. I never even go there. You understand? But my biological dad just goes there because he wants to listen to information that's destructive. I mean, never listen to information that's destructive. I mean, if you go around negative people who are drinking alcohol and who are around pubs and clubs and nightclubs and all these hotels and doing nothing in terms of just sitting around and just blabbering and doing nothing, you understand that it's more that they are destructing in life and they're very negative. So understand that negative people just go around negative people to do what negative people do in terms of drugs and alcohol and waste time and 9-to-5 work, and they get told what to do. I mean, understand? And that's 99% of the world. Or that's 99% of the world where people are getting told what to do by the government and they're listening to the government. You understand? But now, never listen to the government because the government is antichrist. I mean, understand? So if you go away from the crowd today and then you focus upon being alone, or as being alone with yourself to go and learn from everything in terms of life where you can understand the information products. I always love I, so that's why I'm always with myself and I'm growing with Jesus Christ and all this information. But if you're alone, much more than with people around you, you're going to be positive. But if you're around always people, in terms of anybody that you can get your hands on, or that's because you're negative then. I mean, guess what? Or is that what you have to do is you can be around everybody, but learn from the information. I mean, in a sense, so if you're around negative people, learn about what negative people do around negative people. I mean, understand? Because that's how you become positive. Whereas now, if you're never learning and if you're never seeking to consciously learn from people around you, it's because you're negative. But I'm always growing intentionally. I'm always looking for ways to grow. I'm always looking for making sure that I have a better life for myself. So I'm always looking to understand that there's always. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I have a business card over here. I have no worries.
Are you on a YouTube video right now?
I have my YouTube video going, so you can check out my YouTube.
I'll say, hello guys!
I thank you. I thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, boss.
I'll full add you, but you gotta add me back, bro.
I have no worries. I thank you very much. I thank you.
Tag me when I add you. I'll add you right now.
I have no worries. I thank you very much. I thank you. I love you too. I thank you. All right, now, either way, you must understand that what's amazing here is understand that they are somebody who are very, very much more curious about me. So what happens over here is they came there to sit around for about 2-3 minutes to listen to me speak and to do something. So what do I have? I have a business card over here. So either way, they came to support me over here. You understand? So guess what? Sometimes people who are very much more interesting about you will come to you in silence. So what happened here is understand that they came to me in silence in terms of my eye. Whereas now, you must understand that since I see people who may come to me in silence to do something around me in silence, or that they are positive on me because they're giving me space over here in silence, and they're telling me in silence, hey, we love you. I mean, we love you so much that we'll sit over there for 2 minutes in silence to just listen to you. I mean, understand? So what I do here is I invite them and I just say, hey, here's my business card instead, so that you can go and follow me for the rest of your life as well. I mean, in the sense of have a business card ready. Because if I had no business card here, I mean, then I
Look,
may.
my lad, look, my lad.
I see.
Look, boom. Oh,
I thank you very much.
done.
I thank you. I thank you.
Tag me, man.
I thank you. I thank you.
Yeah.
I love you very much. I love you.
Love you
I
too,
thank you.
bro.
I thank you. Alright, now either way, I mean, she just went on my actual YouTube and she just came back here. And what happened here is, understand, I have a nice beautiful subscriber over here. So she went on YouTube and she's subscribing to my videos on YouTube. So every single day focus on understanding. I have over 700 hours of videos online. So every single day you must focus upon understanding to be giving that value. So focus upon understanding what you need to do today to succeed. So understand that now, since people are coming to you in silence, or as if they come to you in silence, you have an opportunity to give them your business card. I mean, in a sense, so have business cards ready all the time in your shoulder bag or wherever in your nice, beautiful trolley every single day to go and do your work daily. I mean, in a sense, because it's very important for you to understand that these people are much more inspirational for me now because they come to support me. Whereas now, when people are supporting you, I never try to hit you. I love I. So what I do is understand that when people come to support you, or is that they're positive about you. But if they're never supporting you and they're never trying to come up to you to ask you a question and they're never trying to come up to you to say, I love you, I mean, stay away from them because they're very negative. I mean, in a sense, so focus on understanding I have 99% of the individuals and everybody from the past who never message me anymore. I mean, they never message me anymore. I mean, in a sense, so guess what? Or is that now? I may have 10 people who may show up into my life to send me a message of, hey, or something like that. But they are sending me a message. And now, because they're sending me a message online, they love me. Whereas now, because they're never sending me a message online, I mean, they never love me. Or they hate me. I mean, in a sense, so if they go into my stories and they check out my stories, or else they love me. I mean, understand? I mean, I convince them online to come and see me online. I mean, understand? So what I do is I post 100 photos into my Instagram, and then guess what happens? I see maybe 5-6 people from the past come to visit me online in terms of my story, or as they click on my story and I can see them. So I inspire them, or as that's good, or as they're much more motivating I today because they're watching me. So every single day, focus upon understanding that now, since I understand all this information, I connect it together in a video and I give it to you. I mean, how's the product today? I mean, isn't that my nice, beautiful life coaching video? I promise you, every single day, I do the best I can. I promise you, every single day, I focus upon understanding that now, since I have a business card, I can give it to people who are much more around me, who are much more silent about my work. So these individuals, I realize that now. You must understand that they are very positive in silence, but understand this, that they have a outlook in terms of the nice, beautiful, let's say, way of their figure is worse than yesterday. I can say that they were doing drugs before. I can say they were doing drugs. I can say they were somebody in life who was going down and they're still trying to go up. So what happened here is they're saying, hey, I want a change for my life. I want you to be my mentor. And what do? I gave them my business card. I see 3 of them. I mean, they'll share me for life. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because why? Because I'm always consistent about being positive online, and that's it. That as long as you're consistent online and positive about it, you are accumulating wealth online. You are becoming more attractive online. You're becoming the trend online. You're becoming something much more positive. I mean, do you understand? So focus upon understanding now that back in the days, I mean, let's just say there was no printing companies, or I mean, let's say there was no internet, and let's just say there was no videos, and there was no portable speakers, and there was no trolleys back then. I mean, guess what you do then? I mean, you go Jesus Christ. You do Jesus Christ work. I mean, go and do exactly as Jesus Christ done back then. I mean, understand? I mean, that's the only way to be positive back then. I mean, that's the internet trend. I mean, that's the whole trend of Jesus Christ. I mean, that's everything back then. I mean, back then, Jesus Christ shows us that everybody is negative back then. And he wants to be positive. Or else Jesus Christ never wants to be alone and silence only. I mean, Jesus Christ wants to be in front of people and silent and loud and be blessed in terms of to be a blessing in front of people and to really, really teach people in front of people as well, rather than just going somewhere in the distance alone where the crowd will never see him. Understand? I mean, now, I'm the one who's telling you that now. I'm the one telling you to go in the distance today and to go and shop and do whatever you want alone and just go away from people. But back then, Jesus Christ never wants to do that. I mean, Jesus Christ back then never wants to do that, but he understands me, or he understands, but he says, hey, I have to give my story over here. I mean, you can do it now. You can now do it. You can do all this now. You can go in the distance and just never come back to the crowd because you're online now. I understand? You have online tendencies. You have internet now. But back then, Jesus Christ says, hey, I have to be in front of people to do this online work. I mean, now, online work for Jesus Christ, back then he was doing it. I mean, he was doing Jesus Christ work is online work today. I mean, do you understand? So understand that's the amazing thing about life, is understand that back then Jesus Christ is doing internet work. I mean, do you understand? So either way, now that since Jesus Christ is still here, or as in the spirituality and everything, we have to learn from that Bible. We have to learn from everything. So I'm dwelling into that story of Jesus Christ. I'm dwelling into life. I'm trying to learn from life as quickly as possible so that I can be alone and so that I can travel the world and so I can be popular and so I can have everything I ever want. But what I have to do that is I have to be alone much more, and I have to be away from people much more, and I have to be with myself growing all the time, and I have to be doing these videos, and I have to be consistent online so that you can follow me forever online. Because if I give you negative content online, or as now what happens with negative people online is they may get a lot of attention. I mean, understand? Or as they may get a lot of attention, but they're cutting themselves short over here. Or as now, guess what? Or as Kim Kardashian, or she gets 50 million views for one porn video that she has, and she's negative about that. I mean, do you understand? I mean, that's negative attraction. And now many people will watch her. I mean, understand? I mean, many people will watch her, and she'll get the negative or she'll get the negative reputation. I mean, guess what? I mean, Kim Kardashian has a negative reputation. I mean, understand? I mean, now you must understand that for me, I can see that she's negative. I can see right now that she's negative. I mean, she's going for a man that drinks alcohol. I understand? I mean, she's going and just drinking alcohol herself. I mean, she has a negative attraction. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo has a negative attraction around him. You understand? I mean, he may have 100 million followers. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo may have 150 million followers, but that's a negative attraction for him. I mean, that's negative people following him. I mean, understand? Whereas now I have 1,000 followers. But guess what? I mean, only 13 or 2 people, or 3 people may follow me because I'm positive. I understand? I'm positive attraction. You understand? I have a positive attraction. I have positive content online. I mean, you understand? And now they all have positive content online as well, but it's a negative attraction where they're never teaching much in those videos. I mean, they're never teaching much audio attraction in terms of words in those videos. Whereas Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, scores a goal. I mean, big deal, man. I mean, you see a guy running from the goalpost of his keeper and to the second goalpost or whatever, and then he scores a goal. I mean, what's that teaching you, man? I mean, or is it teaching you how he scores a goal? I mean, what's it teaching you in words, though? Russia, no words there. Russia, that's the negative fuel. Russia, there's no words there. Russia, just images, isn't it? Russia, now, guess what? Or as the images teach something, or as images are positive, or as images are positive in itself. Russia, this image is positive because it will never hurt you, or as it's never violent with you, so it will teach you. But my audios are something that teaches you far more than a soccer game. Or as I am much better than those commentators on the soccer game, because what are the commentators doing at the sports events? Or is they talking about the sports? And they're talking about what's going on in the sport. I mean, that's it. I mean, how is it to say, I mean, he's going to get the ball, or he's got the ball now, or now he has Carl Michael Schumacher over here, but I understand the way that the referee is saying this. But I understand the keeper over here, or I see we have a problem over here. I see a red card. I mean, guess what? I mean, that's commentating. I mean, they're talking about what's happening inside of the game, so that people on the radio can listen to what's happening. I mean, commentators are talking about what's happening in the event. That has nothing to do with you, or it has nothing to do with your business, or it has nothing to do with your life. I mean, understand? I mean, guess what? I mean, they'll say, oh, I see Cristiano Ronaldo is saying something over here. I see he looks very upset, doesn't he? I mean, how does that help you, man? I mean, that never helps you. So what am I doing here? I'm giving you audio content. I'm giving you more audio content. I understand Megan Fox is very sexy. I understand she's a sexy beast. But guess what? I mean, what is she teaching me with audio today? She's zero. I mean, she has a 0 bank account today with something to teach me about audio. I mean, Sylvester Stallone is teaching me something about audio today. Now, so is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Understand? So I realize now with Jackie Chan, he is alone teaching me something with audio today. I mean, now, guess what? I realized that with the Jean-Claude Van Damme, now he is also teaching me something about audio. I mean, you understand? Or now they're becoming much more popular in that. Or they're becoming much more popular to give you information about success, I mean, today. So understand either way, that you must understand that my audios are teaching you the most today. I'm teaching the most, otherwise there's nobody else who can outdo me. Or there's nobody else that's going to give you more information in words, is what I mean, than I am. Because that's what you need. Or else what's the Bible? I mean, it's full of words. I mean, that's what teaches life. I mean, words teaches life. I mean, images, I mean, words teach you more than images. I mean, understand? I mean, words will teach you. Because Jesus Christ's words. I mean, understand? I mean, what would you rather have? I mean, would you rather have the images of life or the book of the Bible of Jesus Christ? I mean, you'd rather go with the book of the Bible of Jesus Christ because it's words. I mean, words make up everything. I mean, I can teach you in my words images. You understand? I mean, guess what? Every single day, focus upon understanding that when you're cold and when you have something to do every single day, focus upon a better life for yourself. And make sure every single day you go and do something much more attractive for yourself. I mean, go and understand that you have to be alone. You have to be in silence. You have to win over people in silence. You understand? I went busking performances, and take it from me right now. I understand I built confidence. I built confidence in front of people for 160 hours. I was loud and clear in front of people. I built confidence. I promise you that it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. I promise you now, guess what? I promise you now for me to do live performances in front of busking, I promise you in front of people. I promise you to do busking performances and live in front of people is never worth it for me anymore. I mean, you understand? I promise you now, at the time, it was worth it for me. I mean, why is that? Because I was trying to learn something. And I did learn something. I promise you, I learned a whole bunch of stuff in front of people in terms of busking and performances. And I'll never lie about that. Or as if you go busking performances today and you do public speaking events in front of people at a busking event, you will learn a ton about how people react and how people talk to you, and about the whole situation of getting there and coming and making sure that every single day that you're staying consistent about it, and also about how it is. You'll gain the experience. I promise you, you'll learn something from it. I promise you, if you can experience this life in any kind of way, you will learn from it. I promise you now, I'm learning from it now. I'm learning from that situation. I promise you, I sum up the 160 hours together for you right now. I mean, never ever do a live performance in front of people. I mean, understand? I mean, never do a live performance in front of people where, let's say, you have to go and busk performance in front of them. I mean, guess what? I mean, what's this over here? I mean, this is a free busking event. But this is silently done. I mean, this is silently of a busking event. I'm doing it in silence, aren't I? So what do? I can get this nice, beautiful video. I can do it like this. And what I do is I go and busking performances, and I do my nice, beautiful busking performances like this instead. But what I'm doing is I'm coaching people, and I'm very silent about what I'm doing. You understand? I'm very silent about what I'm doing. But now I get something now. I understand that now I can go give these live performances that I'm doing right now. I do it in front of a crowd at a public speaking event. I do it in front of a crowd. You understand? I do this in front of a crowd. And guess what? Or they'll come and get my business card. I mean, do you see this video? I mean, guess what? Or is that they came by themselves to ask me, what am I doing around here? I gave them a business card. Because why? I'm very silent about this. I'm very silent about my work over here. So I attract them in silence over here. I mean, understand? So that's just a key that I just give you a thumbs up, that now, if you want to go to busking performances, you never have to do this. You can go busking performances and sit there in silence and just look at people. You understand? But be doing this work elsewhere then. I mean, be doing this work elsewhere. You don't have to sit and do this work right in a busking event. But it may be easier to do so, or else it may be much more effective for you to understand that now, since I've done this in Brisbane, but I was very loud about it. But now I turn down the volume of my portable speaker. I turn it down because I want people to watch me. So when 50,000 people are walking this way and that way, I want them to watch me like this, where I'm so silent about what I'm doing in the busking event. But they're going to see me doing something around here. But it's a silent effect. You understand? Because 50 meters over there, or else they'll never hear me about what I'm doing over here. But by the time they get to me, or else they'll convince themselves in silence to get my business card. Understand? But as soon as they hear my voice projecting at them from 50 meters out of here, and they hear my voice, or now they'll say, fuck off. I mean, they'll say, fuck off, because they're very negative. But I mean, a positive individual will come straight to you. Whereas a positive individual at a busking event will come straight to you and ask you, what exactly are you doing? I mean, they'll ask you, and they're very positive about you. And then guess what? You say, I'm just doing a lot of life coaching. I'm doing and helping you with all these areas of life. I mean, here's my business card. And guess what? I was like, do you have any questions? I mean, guess what? You can have a nice, beautiful entrepreneurship membership plan or something of a nice, beautiful nature to say that you can communicate to them in a video in front of your busking performance. And then guess what? Or they'll leave. You understand? And I just say, oh, thank you very much, and then continue. But then guess what? Or is that when I do something now, or is that I do it much more in silence? I want to go away from people as much as possible. I want them to see me from a distance. I want there to be silence before they see me. I mean, I want them to see me doing something in silence because that's the conversion rate. I mean, understand? So when you see me from 100 meters over there, but I'm dancing in front of you silently, I mean, you will convince yourself of me. You will commit yourself and you'll say, you're funny, man. I mean, what is your YouTube account? You understand? Because I'm convincing you in silence. But if I get a megaphone and I start, I get a megaphone and I start dancing and I start making all this noise in front of you while you're walking toward me, I mean, now you have a negative effect. I mean, unless you're positive about it. You understand? So why is that? Because they believe that a megaphone, while I'm very loud on a megaphone, while I'm dancing, while they're approaching me from 100 meters out. Whereas now, you're approaching me from 100 meters out, but I have a megaphone, I'm talking like this at you. I mean, you may get negative. You understand? So if you get negative because of my sounds, you'll never follow me. I mean, understand? But if I throw out the megaphone, I throw out the megaphone, but I'm going like this in silence, and now you never hear any you never hear any noise. I mean, now when I'm doing this and you're watching me from 100 meters out and you see me dancing like this, you're going to be like, that guy's funny, man. I mean, that guy's funny. I mean, why is that? Because there's no megaphone screaming noise at you anymore. I mean, that's it. So guess what? I mean, that's why I want to go into busking events in Sydney to never ever pump my amplifier at people. I mean, you understand? I never want to pump my amplifier at people. And then guess what? I went to Sydney, I went to Brisbane to do a performance audition in front of people. And guess what happens? I'm so loud in front of people. I'm speaking so loud in front of people. And that's why they never chose me. Or they never chose me because I was so loud. Or now, somebody goes and plays music very silently with themselves at a busking event. And guess what happens? Or they get a thumbs yes. Or they get a thumbs up. I mean, why is that? Because they're more silent about it. I mean, they're more silent about it, or they're more positive than me, you know, on that stage. I mean, you understand? I mean, yes. I mean, I'm so loud, but guess what? I'm so positive. So, because I'm so positive, or I'm so positive, and they say no to me. I'm so positive on the stage, like this. But I'm just loud, and I'm talking in front of people, and I'm so loud, but they say no. I'm good. And then guess what? Or they say yes to somebody who's so quiet about playing the violin, but nobody else is hearing it. Or as nobody else can see exactly in terms of what, I mean, I can see, or as everybody can see, but the music is so silent, like you have to go really much closer to hear it. You understand? And they get a thumbs yes. I mean, why? Because they're more silent about their performance, but I'm more loud about my performance. Whereas now, those people who are more loud about their performances at a busking event will never get followers. I mean, those people who are much more silent about their busking performances will attract more people. I mean, you understand? Whereas now, I've seen this music individual. I mean, this guy is pumping the music. I mean, very positive. I mean, beautiful music, and he has a crowd orchestrating around him. And also this beatboxer as well. And now, why are they attracting a crowd of people? And myself, when I'm loud, I have no effect over here. I mean, guess what, Arazan? That is something I have to achieve. I mean, do you understand? Arazan, they're doing much better as a job plan than me at a busking performance. I mean, I can actually see it. So what are they doing that is different from me? I mean, they are pumping music and so loud, and they're on the microphone so loud and playing music so loud. But why am I so loud as well by getting less people in front of me than they are? I mean, now, guess what? I get more people long-term than they do. I mean, understand? I get more people long-term than they do. But guess what happens here? It's a different scenario. I mean, it's a different scenario. And now, guess what? Or is that when I was playing my music, though, or is that they were never interesting about my music. I mean, guess what? Or it's a different crowd, isn't it? I mean, guess what now? I promise you all that shows me something. Or that shows me the clear gap that you can be loud at a busking performance and that you can have people surrounding you as well. Understand? So what I do now is I understand that now. I want to understand that it never works out for me to be loud at a busking performance. I mean, why? I mean, it just never works out for me. I need you to understand that other people can go and be loud on the street performance and it never works out for them. And other people can go and be silent at a street performance and it works out for them. I promise you, although guess what? I promise you that other people can be so loud at a street performance and it works out. I promise you other people can be so silent other people can be so silent at a busking performance and it works out. But if you be silent today, I promise you will always work out for you. I promise you will work out for you 100% of the time. But let's say, for example, I understand that, for example, I've seen two women who are singing opera on the street, but they have no crowd surrounding them. Or there's no crowd around them. I mean, why is that? I mean, they're so positive, but it's just different. I mean, why is it different? Because it's just the way it is. So those people who are much more attractive to the crowd, who are loud, have an audience. Whereas now, the crowd never finds me attractive. I mean, they never find me attractive. I mean, they find other people who are much louder than me attractive, who are positive than I am. Understand? So what? I'm never jealous. I understand either way that I'm something much more positive than all of them. Understand? But understand either way that now I see what the case is. Or else they just find other people more attractive than me, even though we're all positive. Understand? I mean, guess what? Or is that it's just the way it is? Understand? So either way, I go more silent this time because I understand that the loud noise that I was making at Puz, I realize that the nice, beautiful busking events or the noise I was making at busking performances never works for me though. I mean, it never works for me. You may go and have the best performance like Beyonce or Michael Jackson or something like that on the street and never get attraction on the street because you're so loud. I mean, guess what? But if you go and start doing Michael Jackson and Beyonce silently on the street, you get this massive attraction. Understand? Because guess what? Or else it's one or the other. I mean, now, you have to try both. You have to try both on the busking performances. And guess what? Sometimes, if you try the first time to go silence, and you do silence the first time, you will attract a mass audience. But if you go be loud at first, you may attract a loud performance in your busking performance. You may do a loud performance and get attraction for it right away. But for me, no. I mean, I went there and I did a loud attraction in terms of a loud noise, and I made so much noise and live performance with actual amplified speakers and everything, and there's no attraction around me. I understand, but other people who do it, for sure they have the attraction because it just never works for me. I mean, understand? Because other people find other people much more attractive than me. But understand either way that if you go to a busking performance and you put your amplifier to sound up the systems, or else also you may experience what I did, which is no attraction from people. I mean, understand? For 160 hours, I was doing it. I mean, no attraction from people. I mean, understand? But I'm learning and growing. But either way, you must understand that if you go also and amplify your speaker and you have all this loud noise at a busking event, I mean, you may be attracted toward the crowd and they may just be around you. I mean, you understand? I mean, that's it. I promise you now, there's no difference between that individual who attracts much more audiences than me and is loud like me. I understand? I mean, guess what? Or else we're just both equal. I understand, but the audience is going his way because they just love him more than me. I understand? So either way, that's what I see. Or else now, because I see that, or else you must understand, either way, I move on because it's a positive scenario. I mean, why is it positive? Because let's say 100 people want to go find this woman who is very positive and she's giving a nice, beautiful performance on the street somewhere for free, and because she's so positive, or else she has 1,000 people watching her at the live performance. But then you go to a town where you're also doing a live performance and you're so positive and exactly like positive like her, but you attract no people around you. Whereas I'm the one that attracts no people around me. I understand? But I'm attracting I only. So I understand either way that I'm positive about everything. I understand either way that what's amazing is, guess what? Or is that because they follow her more than you, it doesn't mean, or as it never means that they're negative upon you. I realize that they're going around a positive individual to support positivity. So you have to accept that. You have to accept that individual who has more in a crowd than you. You understand? Because they're both, or as you're all positive, so all you do is you just continue being positive. Or as if that happens all my life, I never care anymore. I just go and do my work. I'm very positive about everything. I mean, if you attract 1,000 people more than me in life, and I'm positive like you are, and we're both equal, but you just have more of an audience, but we're still equal, I never care about you anymore. Understand? I care about everything. I just go and do my work. Understand? So I focus upon understanding that if you attract more of success than me, but we're both equal in everything we do, and you have more women and more men around you and more attention than I do, but we have the same success, I mean, guess what? I mean, go have all your success over there. I have the same success as you. Understand? I have the same success. I mean, you may have all these audiences around you, but we have the same success. I mean, go have, I mean, go, I'm never jealous of you. I support you. You understand? I mean, that's how it is. So never get jealous of somebody who's positive, who has much more of an audience than you. I mean, you're positive. I mean, he's positive. I mean, she's positive. And you're all positive, but they just get more audiences than you. I mean, never be negative about that. I mean, support it. You understand? Because that's what positive people do. I mean, now, jealous people are the ones who are negative. So they're the ones who never ever do a street performance in the first place. Or shoot, negative people will never ever do a street performance. I mean, understand? Because they're just so negative. Or shoot, people who are positive only ever do busking performances. I mean, you understand? Because everybody in a busking performance deserves all the attraction. I mean, understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that there's two ways to make a living today. And it's busking performances in a silent manner or busking performances in a loud manner. So which one are you? You have to go and find out. So now, I've already seen that the loud part and the loud noise that I was making in front of busking performances never works for me. Or she never works for me. But it does work for me. Or she does work for me. Now, guess what? I can continue that road, but guess what? There's no results there in terms of the crowd attention. I mean, understand? So what I have to do is I have to do something different. I have to do something different. And now, guess what? It does help me to do stand-up comedy in front of people in the busking event, and to do public speaking, and to look at the crowd and to practice public speaking in front of a crowd. I promise you, it helps me. Or she helps me totally. But understand either way, that it helps me in another manner. I mean, it helps me to grow in front of a crowd. I mean, it helps me to go and really public speak in front of a crowd. I mean, understand? So what happens here is understand that now, what I do at a busking event is now I can just sit at my camping chair and I can just relax and enjoy 8-hour days of me just being in front of people and the center of attention silently. Because now I'm showing them silent success over here. I mean, now, guess what? Or is that they're so negative about me here, or should they can shoot me, and I never care anymore. I mean, understand? But understand that nobody is ever going to kill you, or is nobody ever is going to kill you if you're silent. I mean, they'll kill you if you're loud and successful. Or should that's it. Or if you're the biggest legacy in the world, I mean, you're the biggest legacy in the world, and you're the most positive, or they'll come and shoot you. I understand? Or that's what Jesus is back then. I understand? I mean, Jesus Christ in that world is the biggest success and the most positive. Well, that's it. First they went to put him on the cross. I mean, that's it. So I understand either way that now what you do every single day is focus upon understanding that you have to go more silent with people, and you have to understand that is your road. All right. I mean, your road and everybody's road is this way. For sure, everybody's road is silence. For sure, everybody's road is a silent way. And now understand either way that what you do today is make sure that if you want to convince people of anything, you must understand that now I can go and amp up my nice, beautiful portable speaker at a busking event like this and talk to myself only, but be promoting myself all day long. And what I do is then I can go and just relax. I can understand that I can do this video somewhere else as well. I mean, where can I do it? I mean, I don't know, but I can do it in front of the busking events also. I can do it anywhere in Sydney, Australia. I can do this around people, but understand either way that there's going to be people around me while I'm doing this. So either way, somebody may approach me, and I may be just doing my video just like I did today, and I'm still doing it much better than every single day. So every single day, somebody may approach me, and I just give them my business card, and I have my nice, beautiful promotional posters everywhere around me. I mean, guess what? I'm always promoting myself, but I cause a scene over here. I can get 50 of those, 50 portraits and surround them around me, and I can be the middle one. 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 And I can be the and they're going to be understanding me. Understand? Because in silence, I'll show them success. I have 50 portraits. I have 50 portraits promoting me, around me. I'll make a little circle of portraits around me, and I'll be in the middle talking. And they never have to see me, but they can see my nice, beautiful name there. Understand? And it's so funny. Or is it so funny? Understand? Because I can make these portraits of circles around me, and they're going to be like, what's this guy? I mean, what is this guy doing? I mean, this guy's so funny. I realize this guy's making a tent in the busking performances. Whereas now, if I get a tent, and I make a tent at the busking performances, I mean, how funny is that? I mean, I put a tent there, I'm sleeping in the tent while I'm promoting my portraits. I'm sleeping in the tent though, or else I can be there for as long as I want. I mean, that's my busking performance. I'll go into my tents, I make a tent, I make a little tent, I mean a camping tent. I sit in the middle of Pitt Street Mall, or in the busking performance, and they just see a tent. I mean, who's in the tent? I mean, guess what? I'm sleeping in the tent while promoting myself for 8 hours a day. I understand? I mean, now, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, people are going to be like, you're sleeping? I mean, yeah. I mean, why? I mean, that's my success. I understand? I mean, every single day I'm focusing upon understanding that it's something I can do and it's funny. So every single day I promote myself like this. I make a tent. I mean, this guy's coming to sleep over here to promote himself. I mean, every single day focus upon understanding. You have to make less noise, but understand every single day. You must understand that somebody else may do this as well. So either way, you must understand that you can be the one who makes a tent and for 8 hours sleep at the busking performances. And understand that they're going to be talking about you and they're going to say, this man or woman is going here now, or else they'll see you coming, or else they're going to sleep over here. I mean, they're going to sleep on the street for 8 hours a day, and they're going to promote themselves in front of people. And they're going to sleep they're going to sleep throughout the 8 hours. I mean, that's the performance. Do you understand? I mean, isn't that funny? I mean, guess what? I mean, that's what wins you the rewards. You understand? I mean, go and do it. I mean, get yourself a camping chair. I mean, get a fishing rod or something. I mean, be fishing. I mean, get a fishing rod. I mean, get a fishing rod at the busking event and sit on the camping chair and I mean, be doing these ones all day long. I mean, people are going to be like, what's this guy doing with the fishing rod? I mean, you're camping, brother. I mean, you're camping and you're fishing. You understand? But it's so funny. You're just hilarious. You understand? You get a fishing rod. And either way, I mean, focus upon understanding that you just do you. You understand? I mean, go and be funny. I mean, if you understand that you just promote yourself in a funny manner in front of people and be silent about it, you win conversions. You win people over in silence. You understand? So focus upon understanding that's how you succeed. Roshi, that's it. Roshi, just try to make people laugh in silence. Roshi, that's that. So every single day, focus upon understanding that now I can do this nice, beautiful busking event at my nice, beautiful Sydney, Australia, where I can go and do these videos like this in front of people, but never to amplify my sound in front of people, but to sit there in front of people, to promote myself for 8 hours, to do my life coaching events, and that's it. Because they're going to watch me doing it, or else they're going to be watching me do it. You understand? Because it's much more worthy of me. Whereas now, I went to Brisbane, I went to Sydney, Australia to busk in front of the people, and it's all for free. You understand? And guess what? Or else that millions of people have watched me already. Or else millions of people have seen me, and they never want to follow me because of the noise I make. You understand? So what does that say? Or is that because they don't want to follow me because of the noise I make, or is go more silent is the actual occasion? You understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that there's always much more that you can do, and focus upon lifting people only. And when you're lifting people only, you understand why you can succeed. You can succeed only when you're really lifting people. You have to be lifting everybody, and then understand now, I've given you so many tools in this video where you can go and really, really attract what you need. But I understand either way, I have to do my nice, beautiful branding photos. I also have to go and do some travel photos, but I understand either way that it's a nice, beautiful time to do so. But every single day, focus upon understanding that now, since I have all these requirements and all these nice, beautiful ways of living life, now I have to be much more silent about my success, and I have to get away from people much more now. I have to be away from people, and I have to win them over in silence. Or that's how I do it. I mean, guess what, Aaron? That's how positivity does it today. I mean, that's how you do it. But now, Jesus Christ has never won them over back then. And now, guess what? Or is now, you must understand that Jesus Christ is so positive with them, but he never wins them over. I mean, he makes them kill him. You understand? And now they are the ones that are unaware about Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus Christ is making all this noise and positive noise in the planet around them, and they go and put him on the cross. So today, all I'm saying is make sure you understand to follow Jesus Christ and make all that positive noise, but do it online instead. And then focus upon another direction where you understand that you never have to be in front of people like Jesus Christ did. You understand? You never have to be in front of people like Jesus Christ has done before. But that's a nice beautiful experience from Jesus Christ to show you that now you can learn all the experiences of the world and all the mistakes of the world through Jesus Christ's Bible. And every single dictionary in terms of every single move in the Bible will teach you how to live this life. I mean, in every single kind of way possible. I mean, there's always a reference in the Bible that can teach you about how to live life and how to move forward. So understand that you reference everything to the Bible and process it with the Bible and see what Jesus Christ will do about the situation today. And that's what I do daily. So focus upon understanding now. Today, you must be more silent than ever before to promote yourself today if you want to be more successful. Now, if you understand that now you're much bigger and you're much more of a success. So if you want to be the loudest here in terms of life, then understand you have to be positive. And now, if you want to be positive and loud, you're following Jesus' road then. Really. I understand? I'll promise you either way. I want to be much more silent with my success while following Jesus Christ. And now, that's still following Jesus Christ's road. I understand? I mean, guess what? I mean, every single day, focus upon understanding that there are two ways to succeed today in terms of life. And there's only one way now. You understand? Whereas everything is now one way. And the only way to succeed today is be more silent about your success. Whereas now, Jesus Christ's way is be more loud about your success. Whereas now, it's really be more silent about your success, but follow Jesus Christ anyway. And be more loud about success with Jesus Christ that is online instead. Unfortunately, that's the best road. So every single day, focus upon understanding that when you're lifting people and you're doing something that you love to do daily, you're going to focus upon understanding that there's always more to do. How you doing? You guys good?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
I'm just doing my YouTube channel. I'll give you my business card over here.
Oh, sorry about that then.
You can check out my nice, beautiful YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel over here.
What do you do on YouTube?
I do a lot of life coaching. I do a lot of health work. So you can also follow me because I understand that I have Jesus Christ information I can give you. So
Yeah, how many subs you got?
I at the moment have, let's say, around 30, but I understand I'm always lifting myself anyway. So you have to go and check it out what I'm doing. I thank you, boss. I thank you. I understand either way. You guys can always follow me for life or be a mentor. I thank you.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I thank you. Whereas every single day, focus upon understanding that now. I understand that when I'm lifting people, I'm doing something that's very, very much more attractive. So now, you see these guys over here? They come up to me over here because they come up to me and they see me from a distance doing this. Or there's four of them, or they're teenagers. I mean, they come here, but I can say anything to them. I can say, I'll be a mentor. I'll do whatever it takes to help you succeed. I can say anything to them. I mean, you understand? I can ask them to marry me. You understand? I can do anything. You understand? Because they come to me. And now, because they come to me, I give them one of my business cards. Or that's already 7 people promotion today in terms of life where people are watching me do, or they're watching me doing something. So what I do is I succeed much more by helping myself to really, really live life in a different way. So understand every single day that when I just give them my business card, because they came to approach me, I have to make sure that I have my business card ready. So I always have my business cards over here. I understand I just have to be positive about everything. So that's how I really live my life. I live my life in positivity. I live my life making sure I move forward. So when people come up to you, or else these kids are going to be watching me from over there, but they're walking, or else they never even hear what I'm actually saying in this video. And that's the whole point. Because understand, that's how I convince them to follow me. Or as this individual says that he wants to subscribe to my videos as well. I mean, understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that from the distance, they find me inspirational. Why? Because I can see it already. Or as if you see me doing this from 100 meters out, I mean, what is this guy doing? Or is this guy so inspirational? I mean, why? Because I'm so silent about it. I'm so silent about my success over here. So all I do is I go more in silence away from people while making people watch me in silence. And that's what convinces them to succeed. And that's what convinces them to help me succeed as well. I mean, what I can do is stay away from people as much as possible while being in a distance away from people. I'm in a distance away from people while they're watching me be silent in front of my video. Understand? Because they can see they can see that I'm so successful. They can see from a distance that I'm doing something around here. Imagine you walking over here, but you're seeing some guy just doing this around here. Understand? In silence, you find me inspirational. You understand? So that's what I mean. But if I'm so loud doing this over here, imagine a megaphone over here doing this. From the distance, you say, if you're positive, you understand to hear me out. You understand to come and see me if you're positive. You understand? So what you do is realize every single day to focus on your life and focus on growth and focus on making sure that you can go and be much more courageous for yourself daily so that you can go and do something that's really much more beneficial for you. And then understand, I gave 2 business cards away, but I have seven people who are going to promote me for life everywhere. These individuals will promote me everywhere for life. You understand? And how did I win them over? I win 7 people over for life. I just convert 7 people for life online. They'll never see me again. You understand? And now guess what? Or they may see me again. Or they may see me somewhere. But guess what? Or is that what's amazing is they'll follow me for life online. For life. They'll promote me to more people than just whatever. Understand? So every single day, focus on understanding that now, since I have a nice beautiful sun over here, I understand I can go and just make sure I'm just living my life because I understand that this video is almost done. So every single day, focus on communicating everything. Make sure that you understand that if you go into a 9-to-5 job today, bullshit, the 9-to-5 job is a negative place to be in. It's a negative scenario, totally. So if you're the most positive one there, they'll fire you. You understand? They'll fire you. What they look for is negative people. Understand? Or the 9-to-5 jobs look for negative people around them. Do you understand? Because the positive ones are the most successful ones in the place, and they're the most loudest. So I encourage you to understand that if you if you get negative in a 9-to-5 job, or that's even worse for you. So what you do in a 9-to-5 job is be positive and talk the loudest. Try to lead people in a 9-to-5 job as much as you can, and scream. Scream in front of them. You understand? What do I mean? Go in front of everybody and just lead people. Lead people as much as you can in that 9-to-5 scenario, and they're going to be jealous of you. Or as a supervisor, for example, in a warehouse, came up to me and said, "Why are you leading people around here?" And he's so afraid in terms of life. You have to understand that he is asking me a question, although I'm never afraid. I promise you, he is looking to kick me down. You must understand that now. I understand that I went around the warehouse ordering people what to do in a way that I'm never ordering people what to do. I'm ordering people to grow up and to really, really be positive. I'm encouraging people around me. I look like much more of a leader. I'm never trying to be negative on them. I promise you, I went around them to really encourage them to grow around me. And now I was making the biggest noise around the crowd. But then guess what? I was around the crowd in terms of 9-to-5. All those workers are looking up to me. And then guess what? Or this supervisor comes up to me and says, "Get away from here. You never do this anymore." Understand? Or now that individual is being negative on me because he understands that I may take his position. Understand? So what happens is I continue to do this. I continue to do it and over and over and over again. But then guess what? Or is that this occasion where this happened in terms of I went actually much more positive from this scenario. But understand that now, if you go to a 9-to-5 job, you be loud and clear. You be loud and clear. You understand? You be loud and positive. When you say loud and clear, you say loud and positive. You be loud and positive in a 9-to-5 scenario, they'll kick you out eventually. They'll fire you. And why is that? Because you're loud and positive. And now understand that's what Jesus does. Because if you go to a 9-to-5 job to be negative there, now that means that they will keep you there. Or they'll keep you there because they need some negative people around them. You understand? So never be negative. Never be negative. So be positive. But if you're around the police or something like that, or if you're around the police, and if you're around, let's say, hospitals and fire brigades or anything in terms of that nature, you be positive and loud. You understand? Whereas if you're in front of a judge, you be positive and loud. You be positive and loud. You stand for yourself here. You understand? Because no matter what they're doing, or else you're going to talk positive with them, and then you're going to go free. You understand? And that's it. Or else whatever happens. You understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that is what you do. You make a stand like that, but every single day, focus on understanding that if you want to approach people and you want to be positive in front of them, you never do it. Never approach people to be positive in front of them. You You never do it. You never approach people to be negative in front of them. I mean, what do? You get away from people. Because I see people at the restaurant over here. I see 3 people. I see 3 people over there. I see 5 people over there. I mean, understand now. If I approach them and I just try to be negative around them, I never try to be negative around them. If I approach them to try to be or if I approach them to be positive around them, I never approach them to be positive around them. I mean, you understand? I stand across from a distance. I go away from a distance to attract them to me. And now, how do I do that? You have to do that through silence. So what I do around this crowd is understand that now I can go sit closer where they are. And what do I do? I start making a drama around me in terms of my eye. And then they have to approach me. I mean, you understand? Now, I have to go so close in front of them that they see me from a distance. I mean, they see me from a distance, but then it's silent between us. Or as there's silence between us, then what happens here is I must never talk to them. But let's say you're 100 meters away. I come 10 meters close to you, and I make a little camping session around you. I put a tent around you. But you're at a table with your family. I mean, understand? You're at a table. You have a table with your family, but I see you from 100 meters out. I say, I have a camping session over here, but I'll go right next to that crowd to be silent in front of them. And now I come 10 meters away from you, but I start pulling the tent to sleep right here, 10 meters away from you, in silence. And now you're having dinner with your family. Otherwise, what happens is you're going to come up to me and you're going to say, hey man, I mean, what are you doing around here? I mean, do you want to join us? I mean, do you want to come into my table over here? I mean, guess what? You win already. But now, guess what? I understand that what you say here is you say, I never need you, man. Or is that you can come and check out what I'm doing over here. I'll give you my business card though. I mean, guess what? You won them over. You understand? So what happens is you never join them. So what you do is, let's say, for example, you are, seeing the people and they're 100 meters away from you, but go sit 10 meters close to them. I mean, go sit 10 meters close to them. And what happens is they will approach you. And then what you do is just say, I'm doing a live performance over here. I'll give you a business card. You can check me out and what I'm doing. I mean, guess what? Or is that this guy will say, oh, thank you very much, boss. And he'll go like these 7 gentlemen that just did with me. Or else they'll go away, but they'll give, or is that it's 2 women and a man, and also 4 gentlemen and 5 gentlemen and 2 women who grab my business card and have my business card right now. I'm not sure though, that is the same scenario. But then they're going to approach you, and then what you do is you give your business card and then move away. I mean, close the session. Whereas now, if you're closing, or as the sales close, is make sure you give your business card and run away from them as soon as possible. I mean, understand? But if they go away from you, or as that, either way, you just say, I'm just doing something over here, but you guys can check me out online. Or as that, you say, I'll give you my business card though, but I have so much to do over here, man. I appreciate you just going with your family and just doing you. I mean, guess what? Or else he'll go back to his family and he'll give his business card to 10 of those people, and they will appreciate you for life. Or else they will follow you for life. Because how did you do it? You went 10 meters close to the crowd, you stand from the distance in silence, and then what happens is they approach you first in the silence because you're so attractive in the silence, and then what happens is you give 1 business card and they bring it to 100 people over there, and then 100 people are your followers forever. I mean, bingo, I mean, so every single day, bingo means go and really read much more and go and do much more Jesus Christ. So every single day, focus upon understanding how to be much more silent in front of people now. You understand? But if I'm so loud, bro, should they get negative about that? Bro, should people get negative about that? I love positive sounds. I love to pump my music everywhere. I love to pump my music when you're sleeping. I mean, guess what? You may get negative. You understand? I mean, why you get negative? Or is it just music? I mean, you understand? But guess what? Or else people get negative because they're trying to sleep, because they have work or they have something to do. I mean, so what? I mean, listen to music while you're sleeping. I mean, you understand? I mean, that's positive. I mean, yeah. I mean, they get negative though. Or is that when you go, for example, to a beach and you pump music and they say, shut off the music. I mean, why, man? I mean, it's just music. I mean, it's just music. I mean, they may call it shit music. I mean, how can music be shit? I mean, how can music be shit? I mean, how? I mean, how is it hurting you, really? I mean, they're just very negative about music. You understand? I mean, why are you so negative about sound? I mean, do you understand? You never be negative upon sounds. I mean, if somebody's amplifying and never trying to make you sleep, but just pumping music around you, and they're really, really pumping the music around you, and you're trying to sleep, you must say, hey, it's just positive music. I mean, just music. I mean, who cares about that? I mean, I'll try to do something else. I'll try to go somewhere else. I'll try to go somewhere else instead, so that this individual understands that I'm trying to sleep. But either way, understand that he's very cheerful about life. Or understand that he's very cheerful about life, and he has positive scenarios going on in his life, and that's why he's pumping music. I mean, understand? And then if you're trying to sleep and you're saying, I understand I have work, I understand that my kids are around, I understand all that, it's just music. Or it's just music though. I mean, something positive. I mean, the guys come here to help everybody see positive music and what he's doing and DJing around here, and he's trying to liven up everything. I understand that. Or else he's never causing anybody physical violence, or else he's never trying to kill anybody. You understand? Firstly, that's positive scenario, and that's the talk, to be positive about the scenario. But if you come here and you say to your kids, I mean, get away from here, you have those shoes, and you must understand that those shoes, you must understand either way, and you start negatively criticizing them because of their shoes and because of who they are, I mean, guess what? Or is that's what they've done to me in terms of the beach, where I pump my music at the beach, and I realized they're calling my music shit, and they're calling me to go away from them. Because why? Because I hate music. I understand? So never hate music. I mean, love music. I mean, love sound. So even when people are very negative upon you, I mean, guess what? If somebody hits you, you say, I love you, man. I love you. I never want to hit you. I mean, you can hit me, but I never want to hit you, man. I mean, understand? So every single day, focus upon understanding that there's always much more to do daily. So every single day, understand now that if you want to attract people, you do it in silence. You understand? You attract people in silence, and be at a distance from them, and that way you will attract everything. So now, if you understand that if you call people, or as what happens here, or as now, you must understand that most people are negative. Or as now, what you do is if you call people personally, you win. You win the phone call. You win the actual event. I mean, guess what? Or as now, you may get a rejection from somebody. Or as now, if you understand that it's because you have to understand, I realize I did call a church, for example, to go give a life coaching event, but I never said Jesus Christ over here. I mean, understand? I mean, I understand although that I want to teach over here, although I understand that they never wanted it in the first place. So guess what? You just move on. Or as if they never want you, you move on, because it's a free event. You're giving something positive, and you're positive anyway. So anyway, move on. But you're going to get a yes eventually, because you're so positive. But if you go to them personally, in front of their face, Rosh, they'll always say no. Rosh, they'll always say no in front of your face. And why is that? Because you came to them. You came to them all the way. You understand? Rosh, now they never believe in you. Or as they never believe in you because you came all the way to them. I mean, what does that mean? You're very positive. You're very positive, and that's why you have a no. I mean, guess what? I mean, that's how it is. I mean, guess what? Or as if you come all the way to me, or as now, I appreciate you, but they never appreciate you. I mean, why is that? Because they are unaware of what you have in life. I mean, guess what? Or as they're still unaware. You understand? I mean, if they say no to you, I mean, they're still unaware about what you need in life. You have to communicate what you need much better. And that's the whole deal. So understand that, for example, if you ask something online and something in life doesn't reply, or else if you ask something online, in terms of you ask a person online to do something with you and they never reply, you have to understand that it's a what? You must understand they said no. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, understand? I mean, if they reply yes and they say yes, you can. Only when they say yes, that's when you can. But if you call them and you message them and you're messaging them and they say, or as if they're messaging them and they never reply to you, or as they never want you around. I understand? I mean, it's that simple. I mean, if they never reply to you, or as they never want you around, or as if you show up in front of their face but you never talk to them, you win them over. I mean, that's it. I mean, now, guess what? Or as if I can go back to the past and I can go to these people in silence and never talk to them, but see them and just never talk to them, I'll win them over. I mean, how do I win them over? I make sure you understand that if I show up in front of their face, I mean, I make them all see me and I just leave. I mean, what happens here is I win them all over. I win them all over. And now if I choose to sit down in front of them while they're looking at me, I'll win them over. And then guess what? Or one of them will come to get me and they'll say, hey, I need you to come over here because you're very inspirational. I mean, guess what I say? I say, you can go over there with your friends. You can go over there with your friends. I mean, you just say that. I mean, guess what happens? You won them over again. You won them over again because you never want to join their crew over here. And then guess what? You just be alone. Or as when somebody else approaches you, you say, you go away from me. I'm in this spot over here. You understand? I mean, they have 1,000 women over there. And a guy comes to you and says, hey, I want you with my 1,000 women over there. I mean, guess what? You say, I mean, get lost, all of you. You understand? Because guess what? You are here with yourself. You're much more positive now. You won over all the 1,000 women because you never want to see the 1,000 women. You understand? You never want to go with the 1,000 women. I mean, guess what? I mean, 1,000 women now are coming to you. I mean, you understand that? Because if you go to them, or as if you go to the 1,000 women over there, or as if you go to the 1,000 women over there, or men, or as they'll never get you. I mean, you understand? Because they're negative. You have to understand. I mean, they're negative. I mean, they're a 1,000 group. I mean, they're a 1,000 group of people. I mean, they're all negative because they're together. I mean, if you just stay alone, and some individual says, hey, I have 1,000 men over there for you, and I have 1,000 women over there for you, I mean, come to our table. I mean, guess what? You say, get lost. You say, I love you all, but I have something to do over here. You understand? I mean, you never say get lost, literally. You just say, get lost in a way that you say, I love you guys, but I'm going to be here. I mean, guess what? Or is that individual saying already to them that this individual is gone over there, or is he doing something? You understand? So guess what? Or is that 1,000 women are going to be like, what? Or is he never wants to come for us? Or let's go to him. You understand? Or you won them all over. You won the whole group over. You won them all over. And guess what happens then? Or as you want all the men as well. So every single day, focus upon understanding that you can go anywhere, but be alone. And then you win everybody over because you're alone. You're alone. You understand? Approach, if you're single and they're a couple, you win them over because you're single. You understand? You're single. But if you're a couple and you see single people now, you can win them over. But what you do here is you can approach them. You never have to. You never have to. I mean, guess what? You never have to approach them. But they may be jealous of you. Or as now, guess what? It's still the same boundary. Or as there's no boundary, but understand it's still the same kind of class in terms of make sure that you never ever go and approach people, even if you have a couple or a family with you. Or as if you have a family of 1,000 people. I mean, imagine 1,000 people walking to one individual. Or as now, or as 1,000 people who are walking to one individual, or as the one individual is much more inspirational. I mean, if the one individual goes towards 1,000 people, or as 1,000 people are much more inspirational than the one individual. I mean, do you get that? I mean, so what does the one individual do with the 1,000 people? Or as 1,000 people must leave the crowd. You must understand that. I mean, the 1,000 people must go to the one individual because the one individual is much more powerful than 1,000 people. I mean, you understand that? So if you, I mean, where would you rather be? Or else would you rather be the individual who's just one individual in the planet? Or would you rather be the 1,000 individuals in the planet? I mean, which one do you want to be? I mean, you be the one individual. Because the one, or as the number one, is much more convincing and much more persuasion than 1,000 people are. I mean, if you get to 1,000 people, group of 1,000 people, and you give your, I mean, if you give your ideas in 1,000 group of people, I mean, they'll never appreciate you. I mean, they'll never appreciate you because 1,000 of them want to give their own ideas. Or else they all want to be loud in that group. Or else they all want to give their take. Or else they all want to persuade themselves to be the biggest one in that group. I mean, understand? I mean, they're fighting. I mean, they're fighting for competition over here. I mean, 1,000 people in one group want to be heard. I mean, do you understand that? So anybody who's the loudest in that group is Jesus Christ. And guess what happens? Or as they put you on a cross and they kill you. I mean, do you understand? I mean, do you understand where Jesus Christ is? I mean, Jesus Christ is with that 1,000 group of people. I mean, understand? And what happens is Jesus Christ grew up with them. You have to understand, Jesus Christ grew up with these people. And the same people that he grew up with put him on the cross. I understand that? I mean, his fellow men and women. I approach every single day. You have to understand 1,000 people here are all fighting for gold and fighting for ideas and fighting to make status in that group. And it's a social stigma. I mean, do you understand? I mean, social stigma means that people are fighting and people are doing competition to make sure that they are the highest one in that field. and that they are the biggest in that group or community. I mean, you understand? So what do you do to become the greatest version of yourself and to become the best that you can be? Or now, if you follow Jesus Christ's way in that group, and you become the greatest one in that group, or they will kill you. I mean, that group that you grew up with will kill you because they all want to be heard. I mean, you understand me? And that's it. I promise you now, you win anyway because Jesus Christ always wins. You understand? So either way, or now, if you want to win this way as well, you can also understand that you must understand that Jesus Christ's way is the best way. And we're going to amplify Jesus Christ in a different way now. All right, now, let's say you are understanding that 1,000 group of people want to be heard, or else now they want to be heard, or else they want to be the most positive, but if they be the most positive and the most loud, or else they will die, and they will get shot dead, because that's what Jesus Christ says so. I understand? So 1,000 group of people who want to be the loudest and the most successful in that group, and whoever's that, in terms of, I mean, whoever's the loudest and the most successful in that community is going to die from somebody in terms of a gunshot. You understand? Because they are the biggest ones in that group, because they're fighting for competition. You understand? So what do you do? In 1,000 group of people who want to be heard and who want to have status, I mean, guess what? You leave the crowd. You leave the crowd because it's dangerous in that crowd, because it's full of negative people who want to be heard and who want some status in that group. So you leave the crowd totally and you stand with the one individual. And now, guess what? I mean, 1,000 people are watching you. I mean, guess what? You are never in that radius of 1,000 crowd anymore. You are the one individual they all hear, but you're from a distance. You are the individual from a distance. I understand? And I mean, how do they hear you now? I mean, they hear you online on the internet, and that's what I mean. You understand? I mean, now you have a chance to win, because guess what happens? I mean, the internet separates us but connects us together as well. I mean, understand? So what happens is, I mean, that's where the internet comes in. I mean, the internet comes in the middle range over here, because understand that back in the days, I mean, Jesus Christ can only ever be in front of that 1,000 people to be the loudest, and that's what happened. I mean, that's what goes on in that group of the time of Jesus Christ. Is 1,000 people have no internet, but if Jesus Christ goes to be the one individual, I mean, Jesus Christ runs away from the crowd, but Jesus Christ is the most successful like this. I mean, understand? But what happens is, you then never get the Bible, because Jesus Christ has gone away from the crowd. I mean, understand? So what Jesus Christ does is he understands that he has to be in front of that crowd and be the most successful, and that's it. I mean, that's the old way. You understand? I mean, that's the old tradition of Jesus Christ, but it still applies today. I mean, guess what? I mean, now, guess what? Now the internet's today, or there's an internet today. So now you have the opportunity to leave the crowd totally and be that one individual. But they are still fighting for power and position and still negative in that community. You understand? But now you are Jesus Christ in that community, but you understand Jesus Christ now, you move away from the crowd now. I mean, do you understand? Because Jesus Christ taught you and shows you now that if you go Jesus Christ's way, this is what happens with Jesus Christ. I mean, do you understand? So Jesus Christ is showing you the best way here. I mean, follow Jesus Christ, but understand to follow Jesus Christ another way. I can still follow Jesus Christ, but get away from the crowd. I'm still with Jesus Christ, aren't I? But I'm loud and successful online. I mean, do you understand? I mean, guess what? Or is it, if I go and do all this in front of that crowd, I'm the most successful, or else they'll kill me. Or is it, if I go and do it away from the crowd, or I'm silent about it, I mean, they'll never kill me. I mean, do you understand? So that's how the internet comes into play. I mean, guess what? It's a beautiful blessing, isn't it? Because without the internet, I then have to do all this in front of that crowd, just like Jesus. I mean, do you understand? Because now, since I have internet, I can do just Jesus Christ online without the people. I mean, ta-da! I mean, every single day, focus on understanding that now. Since you have 1,000 people in a group, I mean, get away from the group today is the new way of life. I mean, I understand that Jesus Christ back then has to go with the people because there's no internet to give his story and to have 12 disciples and everything. You understand? And he grew up with the community. You understand? I mean, he grew up with the community that you are growing up with. You understand? You are probably, and most probably, growing up with a community today. You understand? Because guess what? You have to get away from that community. You is what I'm saying, because you have internet to do your work. I mean, if you do your work in front of them, or else they'll never appreciate you. I mean, did they appreciate Jesus Christ? Of course, they never appreciate Jesus Christ for doing his work. Understand? So do your work in Jesus Christ away from people, but be with yourself, and you'll be successful. Understand? So understand that now. Since you have one individual here over here, and you have 1,000 individuals over here, I mean, the one individual is much more successful than 1,000 of them. And why is that? Because the one individual shows the 1,000 individuals where to go. I understand? Approach is that simple. Approach it now. Guess what? Approach 1,000 individuals. Approach you slowly. One of them will walk to you. Understand? Approach you. Approach now. Guess what? I have a nice beautiful scenario over here where I left the crowd. But one of them walks to me in silence. I convinced this individual, inspiration, I am, because I understand that I left a group of guys and 20 of us. I just walked away from them. I just went away from them. I went to sit somewhere else away from them. And I showed them as well. I don't care about you people. And this guy comes up to me and says, "Are you alright, man? I mean, do you want to come back?" I said no. But guess what? I went back to them. I went back to that stupid crowd at that point. You understand? I went back to them. And that's where I went downhill from that point. I did walk away from them, and then that guy came to say, "Hey, come back if you want." I mean, I went back. I mean, I was so stupid. You understand? I did a nice, beautiful remark to leave them, but then I just have to go away from them altogether. Unfortunately, now I never had the courage to do so. You understand? I realized either way, unfortunately, now I'm gone from them forever. I left that crowd. I left the crowd 1 year and 6 months ago. Or is that one of them went to attack me because of status. I mean, understand? I mean, because of status. I mean, or as they went to cause me physical violence. And some new guy who came into the group. I understand? Or as he came to cause me violence. I just left that scene altogether. I never came back. I mean, 1 year and 6 months. I never came back to that group. Or as they've never seen me in front of their face for 1 year and 3, or as for 1 year and 6 months. And more now. So every single day, focus upon understanding that. Now, since I'm doing this, I understand that what's amazing is I have to do this. I have to understand that I have to go and really, really speak out my intent. So now, you have one individual and you have 1,000 individuals. And now 1,000 individuals together are much more unsuccessful than the one individual who's on their own. I mean, do you understand that? Of course, it's always going to be that way, that the minority are much more successful than the majority. Because the majority are negative and the minority are positive. I'm the minority. I'm the minority right here. I'm the one individual. You understand? I'm the one individual who's got away from the crowd. I'm away from the crowd. I mean, you understand? Because the crowd is negative. I mean, the crowd is the government. I mean, understand? I mean, the crowd is the government. So what you do is realize this. I'm always positive because I'm away from the government and the crowd and the community. And now, if I choose to go back into the 1,000 crowd, I have to be the most silent. I mean, that's it. I have to be the most silent. So let's say 1,000 people are all together. I mean, let's say 1,000 people are all together in a village. I come back home. In a way, I never come back home. I come back home in I only. Or as my home is I. But guess what? Or is that I go back to the familiar faces? Never. I never go back to familiar faces. But let's say you go back to familiar faces. And now, let's say that you went back to familiar faces. But let's say now, what you do is you see, for example, I mean, let's talk in third person. Or else let's say one individual comes, or else let's say one individual goes into the crowd that they grew up with after 20 years. But then you have to understand that these 1,000 people, I mean, these, I'm better than I'm better than I'm better than E. Every single day, I understand that these 1,000 people are together in a community. But this individual is with this group, sitting at this table, and this group is with this table, and this group is with this table, and they're all on tables. You understand? And now, where are you going to sit in this picture? Because all the tables are full. I mean, guess what? You're going to get yourself in that crew to just be silent. But then guess what? You have to choose a seating around here. But guess what? You're going there in silence. You can go in there in silence. You can go and be in silence around them. I mean, that's it. I first will respect you. First will all respect you if you're silent. Because you're never fighting for position. You're never fighting for status in that crew. But if you're fighting for status and position within that community, or else they'll kill you. You understand? Because that's what Jesus Christ does. Or else he'll go there to be the loudest. And that's why they'll kill him. You understand? But I'll go there right now to show you that there's another way that you can be Jesus Christ. And then what you do is you go with Jesus Christ into that community to be silent this time. And then what you do is understand that they're all full of tables, or there's full of tables there, but what you do is get a single chair. I mean, find a chair somewhere and sit in the center of that building. I mean, sit in the center, and regardless of who they are around, I mean, be the one who has a single chair standing in the middle of that freaking circle. You understand? I mean, guess what? Or is that you are on the dance floor? So, for example, let's say let's say that community is the wedding plan or the wedding function, but there's a dance floor where the bride and groom are going to be sitting, and they're going to be dancing there eventually. But you understand that it's a full scenario. I mean, all the tables and chairs are full. I mean, now, if you go to those crowd to ask something about you sitting on that table, I promise you, you have to understand that you get shot dead. Because you must never ask them. You must never ask them for anything. You must understand. You ask it of yourself. You understand? So what you do is ask yourself a question here. You say, what can I do here to stay away from the crowd, but be single in that building? And that's a better question. So what you do is you get one chair and put yourself in the center of that wedding where it's a dance floor. So you be the center of attention by yourself and just sit there and just relax. I mean, they have some food. I mean, get the food and put it on your lap and eat. But you are the center of attention. I mean, one of them is going to approach you. I mean, do you understand? Because you're the center of attention. And they're going to say, I mean, this guy's the center of attention over here. I mean, let's grab him over here. And they're going to say that you're inspirational. I mean, they're going to say you're inspirational because you're something big in that community, because everybody can look at you now. I mean, they want to minimize you. You have to understand. I mean, they want to minimize you right away. So what they want to do is get you around the girls or the men on the table to be part of their community out of all the communities there. I mean, do you understand? I mean, let's say there's 1,000 communities there, or as one of them from 1,000 communities wants to come to you to select you to be part of their group. I mean, understand? Or as that what happens is, or as one of them approaches you, and guess what? Or as they want you to sit with 5 people instead, and or as they want to bring the eyes down at you. So what they want to do is, let's say 1,000 people are looking at you, who are at 1,000 tables with 1,000 crowds at the table. Or as what happens here is they want to grab you to place you into their table so that only 5 people can look at you instead of 1,000. Otherwise, they want to minimize you. I mean, understand? You're the center of attention. I mean, you're the center of attention. Or as what happens here is, realize when you're the center of attention, I mean, 1,000 people will watch you, always. But one of them will come to get you on a table of 5 eyes. In terms of eyes, I mean, 5 people will watch you then on those tables only. Or, I mean, that's what I mean. So what happens is they come to you to get you on a table of 5 instead of a table of 1,000. You understand? I mean, why is that? Because you're the center of attention. You're sitting at your own table. You have the best spot in the house. I mean, they want to give you a shitter spot, or they want to give you the worst spot. I mean, they came to you to get you on a 5-man table or woman table. I mean, they want to get you on a 5-person table rather than a 1,000-person table. You understand? Because at 1,000 people, where people of 1,000 are watching you, I mean, you're more successful when 1,000 people are watching you than 5 people only. I mean, what they want to do is get you from 1,000 to 5 people. I mean, why? Because there's a table of 5 everywhere at the function of the wedding. You understand? I mean, 5 tables here. I mean, there's 5 people each on those tables. I mean, do you understand? But you're in the middle. You're on the dance floor. You are the parade. You understand? But you're silent. You're silent here. You are never trying to play the violin in front of them. You're never trying to live perform. You understand? You're just silent. You're just singing silently. You understand? Because why are you silent? Because if you're loud over here, or if you're louder and louder and louder, or that's when they want to kill you. Or if you go and sit right in the middle of that wedding and you just be silent, you'll be safe. Because that's what it is. But if you go and do Jesus Christ over here, you go in the middle of that dance floor and you start singing in front of everybody without them asking you, or else they'll kill you. Guess what? Who said that they have to ask you for you to do anything? You understand? But guess what? That's a free speech for you to sing in front of people. But they don't like it, or else they never like that. Because you're the spotlight. You're the spotlight. You are the most famous. You understand? And that's why they want to kill you. Because that's what they've done to Jesus. Jesus, back in those days, does this. Or else he goes to the wedding, and he sits in the middle, and he starts singing in front of 1,000 people, and everybody's watching him. And that's why they kill him. Now, go with Jesus, and go and sit right in the middle of that center stage, but be the most silent, is what I'm saying. And that's what I'm doing at busking performances now. You understand? So at busking performances, instead of making all this noise in front of people where they want to kill me, because they all hate me. You have to understand that I get all these looks, I realize they all hate me so much from a distance. I can see it. You understand? I have to be silent now. So you go to the wedding and you sit there in the middle and be silent and just act like nothing happened. Just act like something's happening with you, but you are aware of it, but they believe that you're unaware of what's going on. They believe that you're unaware about yourself and how inspirational you are, but you're smart in silence because that's your case. You're giving a live performance in silence rather than loud. You understand? So the difference here is to inspire 1,000 people of a crowd, you have to be silent rather than be loud. Because if you be loud, you die like Jesus. Or else if you be silent, you get to live a long life with Jesus Christ. You understand? So be smarter. Or else now, either way, I'm the one who now goes to the wedding and I sit in the middle with one seat and I get one table. And I'm in the middle. I'm silent about that. But then somebody will say, hey, come over here because the wedding planner or the groom and bride want to make sure that you understand that they're going to dance on that wedding floor. Guess what you say over here? You now, or else when they come up to you over here, you have to leave the crowd totally. What you do is realize that if you move and go and sit on a table somewhere else where you're out of the equation, guess what? You then lost. Or else now, if you understand that the broom and the bride have to go dancing on that stage, but you're sitting there on the stage while the crowd is watching you, or else they're going to come and tell you, hey, come and sit over here because the groom and bride is reserving this spot. Guess what you do? You leave the whole crowd now. Understand? Because what happens here is you have the spotlight. But when you have the spotlight so much, what happens is people try to drag you away from that spotlight. You have to understand. So you have to go somewhere else. Now, you can either decide this. You can leave the whole scenario, or you can go and, let's say, you can join a group to be there. You have one or the two. You must leave the total scene. You won them over, I promise you. You won them over in silence. I promise you, you're the spotlight for a bit of seconds, and then eventually they'll come and say, hey, get lost. They'll say, get lost from here. You understand? So, guess what happens? Or else they'll complain about you. Because you're the spotlight in silence as well. You're the spotlight in silence and then complaining about it. Or else now, guess what? Or is that what you do from this point is remove yourself from the situation altogether, because guess what? Or is that now, if you go into that situation in silence, or is you win again. You have to understand, you're always winning, but understand that now, they're always going to be complaining about you being the most high here. But you have to understand that you're silent about it, and that's why you live on. They'll never shoot you, or else they'll complain about you in silence. Or else they'll complain about you because you're silent. They're complaining that you're silent over here. So guess what? Or else you win. Or else they'll never kill you. So guess what? Or else that once the bride and groom finish up their dance, I mean, get a chair and get yourself some drinks in terms of water and soy milk, and understand that's what I drink. And I get myself a table and I get myself food and drink, and guess what? I sit on the table again in front of them. Once they finish, but I go in silence and I do it. I go in silence again and I do it. And now they see me again. But this time, they're going to come up to you again. And they're going to say, hey, the cleaner is going to come here and clean the floor right now. I mean, we need you to go over here. I mean, they'll make up a reason. They'll make up a reason for you to never be in the spotlight. You understand? Or else, guess what? Or else you leave again. You understand? And then what happens is, you return to the spotlight in silence again. You understand? And what happens is, you get the table again, and you sit in front of that special center of attention again in silence. And what's going to happen is, they're going to complain against you. Or else they're going to always keep complaining against you. They're going to complain against you because they want you to get it. They want you to understand that they want you to speak up. But you never speak up in front of a crowd. If you're in front of a crowd and you're with them, you never speak up. You be silent. You be silent. Because if you speak up, or else they want to kill you. Or, I understand it's stupid. I understand. You must speak up along with Jesus Christ, always. You must understand that people must always speak up. But they are stupid. You must understand. They fight for sounds. They fight for position. Rather than seeing that the more loud we are together, the more positive we are. You understand? Jesus Christ back in those times wants everybody to talk up Jesus much more. In a positive way. To never physically abuse Jesus Christ. Is that simple? Or is now those individuals where you're much more positive around them, or is they want to physically abuse you eventually? You have to understand that. Because they're negative. Negative people who talk negative want to negatively abuse you eventually. They want to abuse you physically. Negative people who have negative words want to physically abuse you negatively. You understand? It's that simple. Positive people who have positive language want to positively abuse you, such as Jesus Christ washing the disciples' feet. That's a positive abuse. Negative abuse is shooting you in the eyes, or shooting your heart, or killing you, or stabbing you, is negative. Understand? So negative people who have negative talk want to kill you, while positive people who have positive talk want to wash your feet. Understand? There's a big difference. And now understand either way, that as soon as you enter the spotlight in silence, they complain. But guess what? Their complaints no longer matter. Their complaints are no longer worthy of your attention. You understand? Because what happens is, your silence over here, you understand that? You will never die in silence. They can never kill you in silence. You may say, hey, you may say whatever, that people who go and stab somebody in silence or whatever. That has nothing to do with anything. That happens because why? You must understand, because of somebody who's very sick. And now understand that in those scenarios, how do those scenarios even come up in life? You must understand, it's really understand that they are very loud people. They're very negative people, and that's why it happens in silence. You understand? They are trying to convince each other in silence. Negative people are trying to convince negative people in silence to kill people in silence. You understand? Negative people are trying to convince negative people to kill people in silence. Do you understand? Positive people are trying to convince positive people to win people over positively, to never kill them in silence. That's the difference. Understand? But guess what? Or as now, negative people will never ever come to kill you in the spotlight. Guess what? Or as now, behind your back, now, if you understand that if you're alone somewhere in silence, and you're around, or as if you're around negative people and you're alone, you have to understand, you have to watch out. Or as now, guess what? Or as if you're in silence, or as if you're in silence, or as they can come rob you. They can come rob you. And now, guess what? Or as now, at night time, if you show up all your possessions around people and you're alone, and there's negative people around you, you have to understand that they can rob you. Why do you want to allow them to do that? They can actually rob you. Or as for example, let's say you have a nice, beautiful sports car, and you're getting into a sports car at 12 a.m. at night, an alleyway somewhere, and there are negative people around you, I mean, guess what happens? I mean, they'll come and shine a gun at your head. I mean, understand? So guess what you do? You stay away from nightlife. You stay away from the nightlife. I mean, they'll never do it in the daytime. I mean, guess what? Or now, you must understand, you have to be away from people to begin with. You have to be further away from people here. I mean, never go nighttime shining your laptop at people alone. I mean, do you understand? I mean, why do you want to do that? I mean, why do you want to go at nighttime anywhere in life? I mean, go in the daytime. I mean, now, in the daytime, go alone somewhere, away from people, because that way, they'll never shine a gun at you in the first place. I mean, never let it get to a stage where they can rob you. I mean, never let it get to a stage where never let it get to a stage where they can rob you. You understand? So what you do daily is understand that you stay away from nightlife. I mean, that's the number one way to make sure that nobody robs you. Because usually anything that's a thief in life goes in the night. You understand? Actually, they're more into the night than the day. You understand? Because they're thieves of life. Actually, now, either way, then in the daytime, go where you can go alone in the silent direction, away from people, because that way you get away from thieves. You understand? You get away from people who steal. You get away from people who kill. You get away from negative people around you. You get away from people altogether, and then guess what? You're safe. I mean, do you understand how you get away? I mean, do you understand how you get away from? I mean, do you understand how to get away from thieves and people now? I mean, do you understand how to get away from serial killers and people who kill, and people who are negative, and people who are positive? I mean, do you understand how you get away from people in daily life? You have the internet now. I love that. You have the internet. You have positive people on the internet. You go and learn on the internet. You go and learn everything on the internet now. You understand? Alright, so my mentors, I mean, they're all billionaires and millionaires. I listen to them online only. I never go to visit them in front of crowds because I understand the crowd's negative. You understand? Unfortunately, that crowd's negative. I never want to be around negative people. You understand? I go around them online only. I mean, live seminars around town, I have them online already. You understand? I have the books. I have everything online. So that's how you get away from people who are murderers and serial killers and thieves and people in general and negative people and positive people. You get away from them. I get away from everybody around me. I don't care. I never care if they're positive or negative around me. Whereas if you're in the 1 meter of my life right now around me, I tell you to get away from me. I mean, you understand? I mean, get away from me. I have to go this way. I have to go alone because I never want to be around thieves and positive people and anything around me. I want to be alone. I want to be alone. You give them silent treatment. Whereas if they're positive around you, you give them silent treatment. You give them silent treatment. You understand? I mean, that means never talk to me. I mean, tell them, never talk to me. I have business. I have something to do. You have to understand, because they're wasting your time. You want to do you. You never want to do them. You want to do you. You are the way. You understand? You never be with other people. You be with you. You understand? That's how it is. But now with your wife and spouse and everything, you make sure they come to you all the time. I promise you. If you're always going to them, you look stupid. You look stupid going to them. You make sure that they come to you. You understand? So guess what you do now? You have to understand that when they complain against you, it's silence. Or when they're complaining against you in silence, you make sure that you have everything you have the need to understand that they will never kill you in silence. But when you're so loud in front of them and so positive, that's when they will. You understand? Approach now. Remove yourself from people so that you never get your stuff stolen. You understand? Or else that anything that people steal from you is because you're around people. Or else if they steal your possessions, or else it's because of a scenario that you are around people. You understand? So never be around people and you'll never get your stuff stolen. I mean, never leave your stuff in front of people. I mean, they'll steal it. I promise you. They'll steal. I mean, never trust them. I mean, guess what? I'll leave my portable speaker and my trolley and anything unvaluable in front of people. I mean, go ahead and steal it. I mean, my portable speaker is $430, but I still leave it for you to steal it because I understand I can do my work regardless of the portable speaker. You understand? I can always get myself a new portable speaker. I understand my shoulder bag is something I need. Whereas my shoulder bag, I have a laptop where I can do my music production. I have my technology in terms of my microphone. I have my nice beautiful cables to charge my content, and let it be. That's it. Or that's something I have to get. I have a selfie stick. I can do my work over here. approach now my portable speaker, approach now, guess what? Or else it's 15 kilos to carry around everywhere. I'll get a new one. Or do you steal it? I'll get a new one. I mean, understand? I'll get something better. I mean, guess what? I mean, every single day, focus on understanding that no matter what, that if somebody steals your possessions, you get something better from that point. I mean, understand, every single day, never go around people at night time and anything, but be silent all the time. I mean, understand? And guess what? I recently was in Cairns, and three people attacked me because I shine a middle finger at them. I mean, guess what? I'm in silence over here. I never have to fight, but I understand either way, they want to fight me because I did something in silence. Or they want to kill me. Or they want to kill me in front of people. I mean, you understand? Or there's people watching me. And guess what? I'm self-defending over here in a way that I never want to hurt them, but I'm just making sure that they never come anywhere close to me. You understand? Or that's it. Or that's what you do. You make sure that people never come close to you. You understand? I mean, make sure that people never steal your stuff in the first place. I mean, understand? That's it. I mean, make sure that you're running away from people, because now you never want to be that 1,000 people in a 1,000 crowd. You never want to be 1,000 people. You want to be one individual. You want to be you. Or is it 1,000 people? I mean, 1,000 people are around 1,000 people, and that's why they are 1,000 people. I mean, they are fake people. I mean, if you just go be one individual and one people, you just be you. I mean, if you just go away from the crowd and you just be alone, you'll find yourself. I promise you, if you go traveling alone throughout the world, I mean, just go get a plane from your place to Argentina, Spain, and go around the world by plane. Everywhere in those countries that you've never been before, alone, you will find yourself. I promise you, you'll find the word I. You'll find yourself alone. You'll find yourself at the peak of your life doing the best ever. As long as you go and travel the world alone. Because a crowd of 1,000 people and 1,000,000 people and 50 billion people will never follow you, man. I mean, they'll never follow you. I mean, they just want to be with 50 billion people all the time. I mean, 50 billion people will never follow you unless you are the one individual who ran away from the crowd. I mean, understand? So realize every single day, focus upon understanding that one individual will convince two of them. I mean, one individual is much better than two individuals. I mean, anybody who's one individual is single. I mean, the single way is the best way. I mean, look at Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus Christ is single and says, I need nobody else around my life except I. Or as Jesus Christ never needs a kid, for sure Jesus Christ never needs a family except Jesus Christ. I mean, understand? I mean, Jesus Christ shows you that he has followers in the disciples as well. You have to have followers of your own. You have to understand that Jesus Christ goes up to the disciples and convinces them through positivity, because I realize the disciples are very positive people, and that's why they follow Jesus Christ, because anybody who follows Jesus Christ is positive. You understand? Russia, those people who never love Jesus Christ are negative, and that's why they never follow him, because they're very negative. You understand? Russia, now, if you're very loud with Jesus Christ, but you're positive with Jesus Christ, you can always be loud and positive with Jesus Christ, and that's how eternity is. Russia, with God, Russia, you have to understand, eternity is, let's just imagine parrots and birds that are, let's just say, in a tree, but they're all singing and very loud together. Apparently, that's eternity. And that's what Jesus Christ wants for this world. For everybody to understand those parrots and birds in the tree that are singing all day long and just running around in the tree and playing around. And guess what? Or else they're always playing around and positive and singing and loud and clear. You understand? That's eternity. But understand that with Jesus Christ and what happened back then, I promise you, you must understand that it never went that way. You understand? I promise you, Jesus Christ alone is that tree of parrots and birds that's singing. But everybody else around him is trying to kill him and trying to tear down that tree. But they're trying to kill the tree of parrots and of Jesus Christ. You understand? I promise you, they're trying to tear him down. But Jesus Christ wants all of them to join Jesus Christ in that eternal tree of life, where they can all be parrots and where they can all be birds singing together. I'll see you guys in the next video.